Let me do that again. Alright guys, welcome to Remax episode 20. We're here to talk about 2014. We're here to review it, the best players, the best tournaments. And let's get started with the intros. What's up, Nathanias? Nice shirt.
Yeah, thanks. You know, I heard Kane was going to be here, so I wanted to wear this shirt just to flirt with him a little bit. But, yeah, apparently he had to go see esports or something, so he's not here yet, which makes me sad. But he's always, of course, here in my heart.
Yes. And
why are we making mistakes for Kane? He just can't tell time.
what have you
calling out on it right here?
Yeah. What have you been up to, Nathanias? Talk to us.
I've been doing a lot of streaming. I've been doing a lot of streaming, and what else? I've been streaming a lot. That's pretty much it. You know, not too much else has been going on.
You got promoted to Gold Nova 1, man.
Yeah, I got promoted to Counter-Strike. I'm ready to become a pro gamer.
Nice. What about you, RifKin? What have you been up to? You still play a lot of WoW on this side?
Yeah, well, it's like one of the only things you can do with smaller as a time. This is actually the first time we've stopped casting this month. Zombie Up and I've been on every day since I think the 6th or something. So.
Oh, that's crazy.
Even on a day I'm supposed to have off, you still drag me back on a Remax, dude. Like.
He's not even supposed to be here today, man.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, man. But you love talking, so it's not like you're here against your will.
That is a truth fact.
Yes.
That is a truth fact right there.
Yes. As for myself, I've been sick. Apparently, they told me pre-show that I sound less French when I'm sick, so this might be something I'm going to be looking into. But, yes. So let's start. We have a bunch of topics to talk of, you know, who was the best in 2014 and so on. So let's start with... oh, by the way, before I get started with that, if you have any questions at the end of the show, we'll answer your questions on Reddit and Twitter. Reddit is obviously the better format since you can post more than 140 characters. So go wild. Make sure to leave a comment on Reddit if you have a question. So yeah, let's start with... and also, there's going to be someone posting a straw poll in chat. So as we talk about the nominees of whatever category, you guys can also vote to let us know who do you feel is the best or whatever. So let's start with the first one, which is breakout player for the foreign scene. So it's basically a list of me and the guys. We just put down a couple names. We're going to talk about them. Lilbo, Harston, what?
Well, actually, I've got a quick question before we go into this, because I wasn't sure about the interpretation. Were we talking about players we thought were like their 2014 was their breakout, or like they're breaking out here, like at the end of 2014?
I think it's just like the player that has like the highest race in performance. So like you talk about someone like Intense, he's not as good as Arston, but he came from nowhere to where he is. And if you talk about Arston, he was like middle of the pack European to almost one of the best now, which to me is sort of a breakout. So we have Lilbo, Harston, Intense, Xenocider, added by RifKin, Kane, and then Nathanias put himself in.
No, I didn't put myself in.
Nathanias did not put himself in.
Oh, no,
Nathanias is actually the only foreign player to have a rank amongst Koreans in a top 4 scenario for the Elima League. Harston has actually played twice and not even made it that far. I'm just saying. So I felt Nathanias was very important to add to that list.
Those two Singaporean guys stood no chance.
Hey, do you want me to add Zombie Grub in the middle of the show right now? RifKin?
What?
Oh boy.
It's your show, dude. I don't know. Do what you want.
Alright, we'll add her.
I just noticed this picture of Kane you picked is horrible. It doesn't even have his majestic beard, man.
What?
What's wrong with you?
It's like his Root Gaming one, too, like back in Shoutcraft. It's not even like a Mind Sanity Kane.
But that was Liquipedia. You have to blame the volunteers, man, if you want to blame anyone.
I'm pretty disappointed.
Hi, Zombie Grub. How you doing?
What's up?
Yeah, it's a little bit...
Yo, what's up, what's up?
It's a little bit last minute. Zombie Grub is the second half of RifKin. If
Yeah.
Oh, don't say... I'm fucking out, dude. How do I turn this thing off? What's the...
What?
Oh, wait. I thought those two were dating, no?
Isn't
Kappa,
that
Kappa,
what...
Kappa.
That's what Reddit told me.
There's actually an interview at BlizzCon where we answered this.
That was an amazing interview, by the way.
Yeah.
Actually, you didn't answer it. Zombie Grub like went like out of her way to answer it for you.
She like jumped into like no.
We had that pre-planned, all right? I'm just saying.
What happened?
Not
A little
rude.
bit of context for the people on stream and myself.
We were both interviewed by Gillyweed because we're both friends, and she interviewed me first, and then RifKin came along, or like I suggested that she interview RifKin or whatever, and we talked about like the whole dating thing
Yes.
and how we weren't dating, and she was like, let's put that in there and let's like make it a joke and let's have you like jump across the camera and be like, no.
Let's be honest, in, like 2 years, you can only say no, we're not dating so many times, right? Like,
Yeah. So, tell us what you've been up to, Zombie Grub. A little intro for you before we move on to our topics.
I was just streaming actually, so.
Oh, I'm sorry for your viewers who are maybe sad that you left them for us.
I think they're okay. They're good.
you were cool and hosted desRow, right?
All of a dozen of them. Yes, totally. Flash host Remax.
Yes. So to go on with our topic, breakout player of the year: Lilbo, Harstem, Intense, Cider, Kane. Nathanias, who would be your pick and why? I guess.
When I think about things like this, I usually go for player performance. I like. I think Harstem had like some of the best WCS runs out of any of these players this year. No.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, here's the topic of in the chat, Zombie Grub. Yeah, Harstem had the best performance versus Koreans out of that list of player. Yeah.
That's why Harstem's my boy.
Yeah, but then if you look at someone like Intense, who came out of nowhere and then he became.
It's not like Intense is bad, but you know, it's like imagine we're watching some really shitty Star Wars prequels, right? And it's like the first movie. Okay, the first movie kind of sucked, all right? That's where Intense is right now. Like, maybe he's going to become some badass Jedi, but he's still
pod racing.
He's still pod racing right now, okay? He's got a future, but he's pod racing. And we have Harstem, you know, who's just about to go kill, you know, a whole school of innocent children, but he's like pretty high level, you know? So, he's like closer. So, that's why I got to go with Harstem right now.
Okay.
The analogies made it for me. I don't even care about the reasoning. Just the analogy sold me, Nate. So good job.
Yeah. For me, I'd say it would have to be Lilbo, because there's just so many good European players, but he really like stood out and he really made some of the old boys like scared. Like I think he beat Mana and so on. He did really well. I think going into 2015. With almost no Koreans in WCS, he's going to do really well. What about you, RifKin?
Well, just a small correction there. He actually lost to Mana in our tournament, at least, for the finals. It was like the ace match, though, dude. And it was so close to tie with you. But I would also go with Lilbo for sake of performance. Even just recently, we saw him take Solar to the ace match in a best of 5 for our fight before Christmas. I didn't honestly think that was going to happen. And the games weren't even like Solar is playing bad. Like, Lilbo knows what he's doing. I think given the right amount of circumstances and enough practice, I think we are going to see a really big breakout performance in 2015. I don't think he's the most broken out player of 2014, but he's the guy I think I'm going to have my eyes on going into 2015. That's for sure.
Yes.
Now, can we just like have a mini fun segment and say if all these players went to prison next year, which one would have the highest chance of being able to break out? I think Kane would probably.
Dude, Cider.
You know what? I would agree. I would agree with Kane because Kane could actually like hide stuff in his prosthetic leg. So like mining picks or whatever to like get out of the prison, kind of like Shawshank style.
Oh, I was thinking he was gonna use his like as the pick to get out.
Oh, you know what? That'd be even better. Like hide the pick in the foot, and he like
yes,
it's like a.
he would dig his way out behind a poster of me.
I think Cider is the smartest of the bunch. Like he's like a little Chinese kid that's like super smart and super school focused. So he'd be the best one to figure out a plan to how to get out of prison. But
I'm not saying you're wrong. Right, that's all.
The joke portion of this aside, I just want to talk on Xenocider for a sec because I'm the one who put him on that list. I don't think he's had the biggest performances of the year, and he doesn't have like big tournament wins under his belt. But every time I see him, like it's like come and go. Like, okay, he's got school, then he's not got school, then he's got school, he's not got school. And every time he comes back for like 2 months, he's either being really innovative and he's doing weird different things against players that are working phenomenally well, like weird bunker pushes like against Protoss, or then like just recently he came back again and did the IM qualifiers the other night. He knocked Pulse down to the losers bracket. Like that for me was like, okay, that's pretty cool. So I think Xenocider's this kid where, like, if he could just go full time, I think he would be like one of the best foreign players, like without a doubt.
Yeah, that's yeah. By the way, guys in chat, if you want to vote, there's a straw poll being distributed for every topic, and I'll bring it up on stream right after as we go on the topic. Who's your pick, Jessica, for breakout player? Maybe it's someone not on the list too. That's fair to say.
Oh, yeah. Okay, well, I was gonna go with Lobo too.
Okay.
He's been really impressive lately. Like, Xenocider really impressed me on, like, at IAM. But it hasn't been, like, consistently impressing me like Lobo. Like, the last 3 months, pretty much ever since the big one, or the best European, sorry. I've just been, like, looking at this guy going, like, well, maybe he's actually going to prove me, like, you know, wrong and he's not going to be breaking out. And then he went 5 games with Solar. So I'm like, okay, he's like the real deal.
One other player I want to mention, because I thought he had some pretty good results, even though he can't play WCS next year, was Ariam, who eliminated Revival WCS America in Season 3. Which
Ariam!
That's pretty fucking hardcore, man. He knocked out one of the Koreans that had a top 4 finish this year.
Hang on, I know he's here, so I'm going to kind of speak directly to him through the show for a second. We watched we cast 2 games of Ariam back-to-back, where game 1, forgot extended thermal lance, still won. Alright, it happens. Luck happens. Game 2, in between game 1 and game 2, he messages me and says, LOL, did I forget extended thermal lance? I'm such an idiot. Duh. Game 2, he forgets it again, and he says that he forgot it. It's not like it was on purpose. Yet he still wins that game. So yeah, Ariam can be impressive sometimes. I hate the kid sometimes, but he can be damn impressive sometimes.
Yeah, fair point. Yeah, Ariam did really well. It's sad that players like Ariam and Solo are not going to be able to participate next year. Freedom, #freedom.
I kind of, actually, you know, speaking of that, the players who don't get in because of stuff like this, I really hope to see players like Ariam end up being the guys who are the king of the online cups, you know? A lot of these players like Snoot or TLO, they're probably not going to be playing Go for StarCraft.
Ariam better be like Kappa Star League champion next year, seriously.
Yeah. You still haven't announced any details about the Kappa Star League, man. You were like, once I get 10,000 followers on Twitter, something big's gonna happen.
Yeah. But the thing is, I had to coordinate it with something that the sponsor's doing, so it's going to be early next year. I'll say it's going to be a league, that's it. It's actually going to be a league.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
So. Well, there's no WCS to schedule around really anymore, so it'll be a lot easier to do.
Yeah, that's very true. Alright, next category. Breakout player for the Korean scene. Nathanias, can you look at this? Do you have anyone to add? Because we don't have that many people. Is there anyone that comes to mind for you?
Breakouts in the Korean scene?
Yeah.
That's hard, because I mean,
how about the guys that we thought were dead? Can we talk about them?
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna bring up.
Marine King, you know, people.
We can put him on there. Because Breakout is like going from like this.
What about Solar? Solar too, yeah.
Okay.
Solar, I think, had an amazing year.
Oh, dude, a DreamHack, no problem. Goes like to the finals with Tasia and IEM, no problem. Yeah, Solar's been a bit of a badass this year. Safe to say.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Actually, Solar was my favorite. I actually put Solar as my #1 Korean Zerg this year. There's no Zerg I enjoyed really watching more than him, because he did a lot of crazy shit, and he also speaks good English. So.
Okay, let's take this updated list. Breakout player Korean.
Why don't we? Since this one's a little bit more fickle, why don't we just do it by race then instead? Because I feel like we're going to be jumping back and forth between Breakout versus Comeback King versus whatever classification. So it might be better if we just do this by race.
As long as no one disagrees with me, then we're good.
All right, then.
Okay, we can do... Well, I don't think we have more than one Protoss, though. RIP.
Oh, yeah, let's look at the other guys. Yeah, F Protoss, though.
A lot of them broke out before that mothership corner.
Oh, the Terrans in the chat,
You guys are so mean.
Yeah, it's 3 Terrans and you, desRow. I'm sorry, buddy.
Protoss have feelings too, guys.
Nah, I was just playing Protoss. My soul actually went like out of my body when I started storming Terran. So I'm now soulless.
You're like the ginger kids. All right. So Nathanias, your face. All right. So just the list is Pig BB, Cure, Solar, Marine King, and Saskry. Just like whoever like you think really broke out of his like Eater Shell or the Shadow because he was never noticed before.
Actually, I'd like that Impact to that list too, if that's cool.
Oh yeah, sure.
Thinking about it.
Yeah, sure. For me, I think Cure really came out. And it's always nice to see a new Terran do well because they're always scary, they're always impressive. It's almost as if it takes more skills to be good with Terran. But yeah, that's Cure. That's Cure for me. What about you, Riff?
So I'm the one to put Cure. Pardon me. I'm the one to put Cure on the list because I really Zombie Up and I got a first really good look at him for I think it was IM Toronto qualifiers. I could be mistaken. Where he was just knocking down people like Curious and taking on folks like Life, no problem. Well, I can't actually remember the exact bracket, but he was knocking down a lot of big names, and it was really cool to see. And then sadly, he didn't quite make it, and his flashes show and all that for Toronto. But then we saw him later at Red Bull, and I was so glad that they brought him back for that. I definitely didn't think he was going to win Red Bull straight up, but definitely that guy was. He definitely deserves some attention. He's played quite well this year.
Yeah. What about you, Nathanias?
I mean, we're on the Terran side now.
Yeah.
New Terrans didn't really seem to be much of a thing. Cure is probably the newest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, for
That's
sure.
all I got. He played TVT. He played TVT really well. I didn't get to really see him play though until we saw like this current effed up state of TVT that remains to be seen whether or not we'll ever claw him out of that abyss. But I like Cure, I guess. There's no one else to really talk about as far as like new Korean Terrans go, right? Like I'm really trying to think, and yeah. If we're talking,
Yeah,
we can't talk about players that have already been around then.
Yeah, the growth in Korea is like pretty dead. Like the amount of players that play is very small compared to.
I mean, I think there were just more players that had better results from other races this year for Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
At
what,
least.
yeah.
Yeah.
What about Solar?
Yeah, I like Solar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so.
What about
I think
you?
Solar. Here's my story with Solar, right? Like, I think we were some of the first people who like really saw this guy. Zombie Up and I back in these Zotac North American Cups. This little unknown sort of guy from Samsung Galaxy, just kind of coming over here because his team didn't need him for Pro League. I mean, he was always good, but there was a time where like his DVZ was his worst. He would lose to foreigners in it, this, that, the other. I don't know what it is this year that happened, but seriously, since January of 2014 to here at December, Solar went from being, the king of an online cup with a bunch of North Americans in it to DreamHack winner to IEM finalist. Like, he has probably on that list got the most actual performance rating out of anybody. And not to mention, he just recently won our tournament just this past week. So he's definitely, I'd say, come the furthest, without a doubt.
What about you, Jessica?
Are we still talking about one race or just in general?
I think in general.
Oh, okay. And we're not talking about the old guys. Okay. Yeah, I'd go with Solar overall. Going from no name to household name. More so than Cure, too. I think Cure impresses, and he was like... He got to Red Bull. I remember freaking Red Bull, too. Like, no one wanted to cheer for Cure. And I was in the stands, and I was like, yeah, Cure! And everyone else was like, yeah, Bomber! I was like, oh, wow, screw you guys. Jesus. But, yeah, he hasn't really made, like, a fan base, really, except for, like, Terrans who love Korean Terrans, or just, like, won a lot of stuff, or Solar has.
He reminds me of Maru. It's like, no fucks given at all. He's just like playing the game. He's like there.
No one cares about me at this tournament, but I'm gonna go win the fucking thing anyway.
Yeah. All right. Well, moving on to the next. What?
Before we move on, some of the other names on there to talk about, because we mentioned Marine King and stuff,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Marine King was kind of cool because I think Marine King's been the hero of everybody, no matter what race you were at some point in your StarCraft
Of course.
passion. Yeah, like whether you're Protoss Terran or Zerg, you fell in love with Marine King at some point, for whether it's Micro or Swagger or whatever the case may be. Then he disappeared and it really sucked. Not that it was like, oh my god, I'm devastated, I'll never love another Terran again, but it sucked. There was that void there. When he came back, that was really cool. We saw him immediately start playing like Alima Leagues and taking IM qualifiers, and he wasn't exactly performing that great at first. But it's nice to see that when he's like, there are points now where when Marine King is playing at his best, I really think he could beat anybody. But those times don't seem to come that often, sadly.
Why did you hate Marine King at first, Zombie Grub?
Oh god. So RifKin knows I have this thing
She's
where
weird, that's why.
I don't really hate any player, unless they beat a player that I really wanted to win.
I see.
So, I think I hated Marine King back versus when it was Startail versus Prime, and the whole, like, we need land thing happened, and I was like, wow! I hate Marine King, and that stayed for like 2 years. I like him now.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah, I really like the swag. He had a lot of beautiful hair. His hair nowadays is weird, but he feels anyway. I don't want to pull a wolf.
Judging a man by his hair, god damn it.
Well,
God damn it! desRow, I thought we were supposed to be an impartial jury.
Yeah, okay.
well the one last mention I'd like to give on this list, and I definitely don't think he's had the breakout performance of a lifetime or anything, but Impact has also been performing really well this year. Sadly, it's again always been in like lots of little victories. I think Total Biscuit even like did a recap post on one of the live reaction threads about his recent performances. Like Impact kicks ass, but the problem is Impact doesn't kick ass to the end. I would definitely like to see more of that Impact in 2015, and I think he's probably one of the better players on Axiom at the moment.
I have a suggestion too. Well, just to talk about it, I guess. Gumiho is also the guy that came back, and I really like Gumiho now. Like, he's always been, I guess, like, kind of there, but, like, recently he's been playing a very obnoxious but really, like, imbalanced style, and I feel like he's gonna make such a big name for himself. Like, he did at, what was the recent tournament he was in? He got top 4, I think? IEM?
Yes.
No one remembers. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's definitely coming back. There's a lot of like Terrans that are old that are coming back.
Yeah.
And just before we get on that train, some of them were starting to post results and shit before everyone was whining about Terran. Just
Yeah.
saying.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. Alright, next category. Best foreigner. We have Snoot, Buddy, Scarlet. Someone put Lilbo, I think that's RifKin.
Yeah.
And then I ended up adding Huck and Jim, which...
Oh, desRow, you want him back so bad, don't you?
I mean, if we're gonna put...
Did we reach the part where I could circle jerk about 4GG finally winning a tournament yet?
No, it's not that part. I think if
no.
we're gonna put Lilbo,
Actually,
we have
does
to
he
put...
count as... Does 4GG count as a foreigner?
No.
I mean, like, he has, like, been in Europe for how God knows long, like...
I mean, I know we can't. I think I might have missed the part where we finished with the Koreans, but I just needed to show him some love because I'm a big fan.
Kane is back, so I'm gonna add him to the call.
Oh boy, here we go.
This is gonna... yeah.
Green region hype!
No! Guys. It's time to commit Sudoku.
I just feel like if we can call Polt American, 4GG...
No, but that's the thing. We shouldn't be calling Polt American, man. That makes me mad so damn much.
I agree very strongly.
Yes.
But that's not the case. It's like this whole GIF debate, right? Like, popular opinion is going to win out regardless of which one is right. Same with, like, Polt being Captain America.
Yeah, I guess, but...
It's GIF, by the way.
Well, Polt exhibits the most American qualities of the Koreans that play in America, so I have to give him that.
Why? Because he has broken English?
No, because he has the biggest drive for overall success and most ambition. He does more than any of the other players. He going to full-time university, getting fucking degrees and shit. Learning a new language, living in a foreign land, and still winning StarCraft tournaments.
Did he, like, take a break from school?
Maybe, but I don't, like, I'm pretty sure, like, he's way more well along with most of it than the other players. Like, he went to school in Korea, too. He's the most ambitious, and that's very American.
Yeah, Kane is like the Muslim levels of handsome today. What is going on? Were you late because you had to go get your hair done, dude? Like, jeez.
No. Today, I was looking for a digital piano. Sorry to interrupt.
Are you sure you were not looking for a girlfriend? Because that's how you would look, right?
No, you use Tinder for that. You don't have to leave the house.
You're in Switzerland, man? No. I don't know, Kev.
What about...
your jersey, Nathan?
Yeah. He was so sad that you weren't around because he wore it just for you.
I can't see Kane's camera yet. Are you wearing yours, Kane?
Yeah, I think I just fixed it now.
Don't say no, Kane. I'm gonna be really sad if you say no.
I'm not. I'm sorry.
God damn it! Go change. Right now.
It's Freaky Friday, guys.
So yeah, to move on to move. Yeah. Do you have the doc, Kane?
The doc?
Yeah, the doc. The document.
Google
Document?
document.
The Google Doc.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
The
So,
document.
So, best foreigner, Snood, Bunny, Scarlet, Lilbo, Huck, and Jim. At first, we didn't have Lilbo, Huck, and Jim, but then if RifKin's gonna put Lilbo, then I feel it's fair to put Huck and Jim. Kane, what do you think?
The best foreigner right now?
Yeah, well, 2014.
Yeah, the best foreigner in 2014 was probably Bunny, to be honest with you. Scarlet kind of had a disappointing year overall.
Yeah.
Snoot, he had some really good breakout performances. Like, not breakout, but really good performances. But I feel like overall, Bunny was the most consistent. Near the end of 2014, though, we saw Snoot take a couple best of series versus Bunny, which he was never really able to do before. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic. But a lot of people are saying, like, Bunny's not motivated to play. He hasn't been practicing, stuff like that.
It's very scary.
So I think, yeah, people always forget about Jim as a foreigner, though. Like, Huck had a really consistent year as well. Little Bo had a very good second half of 2014. But Jim and Bunny are probably the two people that you really need to watch out for, especially if Bunny starts practicing again.
What about you, RifKin?
I'd agree that, like, if we're looking at the year as a whole, yeah, Bunny, I without a doubt.
Why? I forgot what he did in the first, like, 2014, I guess.
Wow.
Well, I think it actually starts as a bit of a
yeah,
breakout.
the Gfinity, yeah, but what else?
Well, no, that's the thing. Like, first off, he is the, like, for those who don't know, in the term of StarCraft 2, it's always Koreans who win the big events. Like, there's a lot of foreigners who get far, but it's the Koreans who win. Bunny, seriously, regardless of the event and how it was run or who was invited, this, that, the other, he beat out a Korean in the finals of a major event. No other foreigner has really done that in God knows how long.
Yeah, but the amount of Koreans...
No, there's no yeah, but, dude. Like, the bottom line is, like, there was really good Koreans in that tournament, and Bunny won. If that doesn't qualify you to be one of the best foreigners, I really don't know what does. He's done what literally nobody else could.
Like,
that's true.
But he beat Stardust, and then he beat TLO, and then he beat Snoot, and then he beat Hyun. Which Hyun is like the punching bag of foreigners since like 2012.
desRow, I just want you to know that
desRow,
next year, like halfway through 2015 or we get close to 2016, people are going to be like, oh, you know, there was only one player that actually posted a big tournament result and got a championship last year. Yeah, it was Bunny. No one's going to be like, oh, he only had to beat like 3 Koreans to get there.
He beat 2!
Not to mention that, okay, only beat 2 Koreans. Not to mention that, like, what other players have even been able to do that?
I'm just saying, like, I'm playing devil's advocate, man. Like, I don't
what
think...
About,
I hear where you're coming
what
from,
about
desRow.
Sen did it, didn't he?
Yeah, but... there wasn't a lot of Koreans there,
But he beat Hyun again in the finals.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Hyun is like the foreigner punching bag.
Yeah,
I
don't think anybody would argue as Sen being the best foreigner. Sorry, Zombie, I cut you off.
No, I was cutting. I just like, I feel like when people say like the punching bag, they mean that he is getting literally beat up. But I feel like Hyun is more like the practice punching bag, you know? Like, you're practicing against like the okay Korean to really face like the better Koreans. Like, Hyun's obviously really good.
The thing is, though, Hyun plays in so many things, like every event, that you see more losses than other... Because there are more losses, but there's also more wins. So it's really easy to write Hyun off, but keep in mind, guys, this is in context of the fact that he plays probably 3 times as much as anybody else.
Yeah, I'm not saying that he's bad, I'm saying that he actually gives the most consistent practice to anyone. So when I imagine a punching bag, I imagine, like, practice.
Guys, I've been called out. Bunny messaged me, said I beat 4 Koreans to qualify.
There you go,
Get fucking wrecked, Desi.
He beat Patience 2-1, he beat Sleep 2-0.
Bunny also beat Stardust and Fragmite Masters. Get wrecked.
And he beat Armani 3-2, so...
Yeah.
Alright,
like,
guys.
Bunny just shit on you.
If we're going to go back to Bunny for a second, here's the thing. I really like Bunny, and I just named him as, like, I think overall performance the best. But not towards, like, the end of the year. And it's really hard to... There's such a focal point of, like, what's recent versus not, right? So in everyone's mind, like, everyone writes off Scarlet, everyone writes off Bunny, everyone writes off anyone who hasn't done anything in, like, the last 3 months. But it is really important to keep in mind that, yeah, Gfinity was a while ago, but that was a big deal. That's not something to simply write off.
Yeah, that's very true.
So that's... I think that's why I put Little Bo on there, too, by the way. Like, that's my opposite end of the spectrum. He might not have the best results, but I think he's been playing best recently. So it's definitely Bunny overall, though, for me.
Guys, make sure to get in chat and vote using the straw poll. Right now, Snoot is ahead of Bunny. If you think our arguments for Bunny is strong enough, feel free to change your vote. What about you, Zombie Grub? Who do you think is the best foreigner this year?
Yeah, I was gonna say Snoot.
Yeah?
Like Bunny, like obviously has a good case, and they all make good cases. I just feel like this is like obviously bias, and it's probably not even a good argument. But like the feels, man, that Snoot has given, like going to Game 5 in versus Flash and IM Toronto, like Bunny is obviously good, but you have to convince people when he goes into a tournament that he is the foreigner hope, I guess. Or like Snoot is like. You could say that he's overhyped actually, because everyone expects him to be the foreigner hope, but sometimes he does deliver in like really big ways.
Well, to be fair, I think Snoot and Scarlet both share that, where everyone expects a lot more of them than they put out. But I think Snoot is more consistent than Scarlet, so I agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
I think Snoot is the closest to like bringing out the biggest performance. It's like always close of beating Flash, beating Hero. He's always like he did like many round of 8s with like very stacked tournament. Not to take anything away from Bunny, but I don't know. It'll be an interesting race for 2015 because there's no. Even though Bunny is a winner according to the panel, it's not like a clear 100% definite winner. Like no one is outclassing anyone by like 1,000 miles or whatever.
Yeah, like keep in mind, all these names are so good. It's just picking on which one we think is slightly.
Yeah. We're not trying to insult the others because obviously they'd still wreck the shit out of anybody else. So.
I think that if Snoot had won versus Flash, like if he had managed to close it out, and versus Hero, I think that it would be pretty resounding.
Yeah, well.
Just
any foreigner beat Flash this year. I don't think the circle jerking would ever stop.
Yeah,
for Sooth.
It feels like Snoot's year has been that. If only had closed it out 3 times versus Jaedong, once versus Flash, and a bunch of other games, I'm sure. But he has actually gotten to like the ace match or put people down in the losers the losers bracket, and then not been able to actually win the whole tournament.
Would you say he's been so close?
God damn it!
Actually, hey, we glanced over this, but I want to give a bit of a shout out here to one of these guys on the show. When we were talking about the foreigners earlier, Kane. I wrote his name with a big question mark because, like, Kane, buddy, you play so goddamn well lately. I'm hoping for so many good things for you in 2015, man.
Yeah, Kane has a GSL code S.
It'll happen though because like 2014 was literally the first tournament that I've been to, like first real tournament, other than WCS in like 2012, but.
What about
my first
Shawcraft?
offline tournament? That wasn't an offline tournament, but that was like all online except for the very finals. So I think that with more experience in 2015, I'll be good.
I'm hoping for him.
Just wait.
Yeah,
for those who don't know why, by the way, Kane just recently went like toe to toe in the round of 8 for the fight before Christmas against like Impact, and it was again one of those another ace match scenarios. He beat Scarlet in the group. Like this guy Kane, he's not too bad. I'm just saying.
I should have been Polt too.
Yeah, but you didn't, so.
Yeah, I know. No, you're right. Everybody in StarCraft is always like, oh, if I had done this slightly differently, I would have won that game. But you know what? That's with every game. That's with every single game that you lose. If you do something differently, you will win. That's how StarCraft works.
Yeah. Crap. That's something to say, but I forgot. Yeah, Huck and Jim. I feel like Jim will be one of the players that will rise above with the new WCS format. I think you will see him shine a lot more. Although if he does Phoenix Colossus and PVT one more time, I think I'm gonna give up. It seems like a scratch, like it's do or die. He's so easy to figure out. And then Huck did really well near the end of the year there. Just not enough compared to Scarlet, Bunny, and Snoot. And by the way, Bunny messaged me saying he thinks Snoot is the best for 2014.
Well, you know what? Hang on. That's because Bunny and Snoot are both, by the way, the nicest fucking people. They're always going to be like, no, the other guy, or you.
Hey, I went out and had soju with both of them. They're not that nice.
Okay. I want to speak on Huck's point real quick before we get too off topic. It might not have been the biggest tournament of the year, and it might not be the one that got looked at the most, but Huck was like consistently on the top of Copa America for a while. It was just for him, I'm sure, just like a tournament in the background, not something he was really driving to be like, I'm going to be the champion of Copa America. But between like WCS and between IEMs and whatever else he was juggling in real life, he was still performing well over there. And of course, those offline finals and all that stuff. But you're right. Like I definitely wouldn't disregard Huck. I don't think I would call him the best foreigner though, to be honest. Love the guy. He's really good. And I always enjoy seeing him play. He's always got those ninja probes and cool tactics. But I don't know if I'd rank him up there with the best.
Huck
That's
has
where I'm
been
gonna
really
get hate.
consistent. No, Huck has been really consistent though. Like, you know, in 2013 he didn't have the best year, but in 2014, he was like every tournament, every qualifier that he entered, he normally did pretty well. Like not Bunny level, but Huck is definitely like a foreigner to watch out for in 2015, especially with the new WCS.
I would agree. Yeah.
All right, guys. Before I bring up the next list, I want you guys to look at the doc and tell me if there's someone that we should add for best Korean, because I just went by like most earning. So if just go wild and
How do you not have this guy?
Well,
Seriously.
all right.
Put all caps for it, desRow.
Yes. Anyone else? Nathanias, Kane?
Korean's weird, man.
I think we probably
See, the thing is, if you were to talk about who the best Korean player is, everyone would disagree, because you get the people that are like, well, these guys won these tournaments, and then you people that didn't win any tournaments that others would say are much better.
Yeah.
So
because the Muslim is awesome and he hosted us, I put his pick on the list since he was asking for innovation in chat. Anyone else, Kane?
Like I don't think that you could argue the best. I don't know. Sue is the most consistent. Like
I feel like we'd be arguing best versus breakout. You know.
For Sue?
Yeah.
No, just like for a lot of these Korean names, like not the ones on the list right now, but anyone we think of, like there's so many that are like, yeah, they're pretty freaking good, but they're not the top, you know?
this year was pretty crazy. Like there were so many good players that didn't have the results that we expected.
Yeah.
And you know there's all those people out there that are like Kesper Broodwar bullshit elitists that are like fuck life, even though he won a ton of shit.
He only won
Including,
WCS,
he only
overkill.
won like BlizzCon finals, and there's still a bunch of people that are like, no, just fucking lucky, man.
Yeah, life is just lucky, man. The Ling run by is like it's so
Yeah,
lucky.
any scrub could Ling run by their way to $100 grand BlizzCon championship. Just so you guys know.
Like I played versus Solar in the ASL, and then he did a run by, and it was like, what a fucking noob, you know? He put so much links and efforts into that run by. If I added on old position, nothing would have happened. He's such a lucky son of a bitch. I told that to myself for like half a second. And I'm like, no, I'm just retarded. And I suck. But that's how people.
I like this though, because old desRow wouldn't have done that. Old desRow would have been like, fuck. So lucky. What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
And that would be the end of it. There wouldn't have been that correction of, you know what? Realistically, like.
Yeah, but okay, so the best Korean, Life, Zest, SOS, Teja, Parting, Innovation, and I don't know who's messing with the Google Doc, but fuck you.
I think everybody is.
Yeah.
I think it's because like
Haven't
that. I think that last name there, his accomplishments outrank GSL and Pro League or anything like that. So that's probably why I got added.
Who?
That's why.
No, we're not. He's not Korean. That's who I was white. All right.
Should be. He's pretty much Korean. With his results, 6-time EPS champion.
All right. So Nathanias, who's your pick for best Korean out of that list?
This year, at least that the list makes it easier. I like Zest.
Zest?
Oh, what about this guy?
Who?
The fuck? He's cute, but I don't know about that.
Who?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You know,
God.
Eventually that comes back to the fact that the same players play in every single fucking IEM anyway, so.
Yeah, well, there's like the whole mess of
Oh yeah, we
things
didn't
that
put
make it-
Hero. Damn.
Yeah, Hero. But he's been really consistent. Like, okay, maybe only.
He's
in
been
our
really
games,
consistent
whatever.
against the same, like, 4 or 5 Koreans.
Yeah. Wait, who did you say was the best? Wait, you already go?
I like Zest
Thanks,
more.
Adrian.
Zest won a GSL, Zest did really well in Pro League, and Zest is ripped as fuck, so yeah,
Yeah,
man.
he's really pretty.
Zest is really cute.
every time I go to lift at the gym, I look in the mirror and I imagine Zest is there instead of me. So that's how I have the determination and courage to continue to lose weight. That's how I've been doing it.
Yeah. All right. What about you, Kane? Who's your best Korean on that list?
It's a toss-up between Zest and Life for me. Like, Zest has been more consistent throughout 2014, but Life has had like the bigger results, as in winning BlizzCon and getting second in DreamHack Winter and stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a toss-up. I think that it's definitely between those two, though. I don't think anybody else really can compete.
Well, RifKin, you seem to not agree.
Well, okay, so I'm kind of torn between this because there's like a head and heart decision on this, right?
Yes.
I think Life gets the statistically best one for me, but also because I've seen Life willing to do more things that are outside a regular game. Like you know, you expect you see PVs, you expect it to go like, okay, there's gonna be Colossus, maybe Roaches, maybe Vipers, but like Life's the guy I've seen who, for what was it, the big one, every single time he played ZVZ, ZVP, ZVT, didn't matter. He was like Nidus farming on Catalina. He was doing these weird Roach attacks all the time. Between like moments like that and actually winning WCS, for me, I say Life, because just I really like his style, his adaptability, and his creativity. All is just one package. But it is hard to argue against the results of somebody like Zest, so that's why I'm a little bit torn. My heart, though, dude, Parting, like, okay, if we're gonna talk about like cool moves too, like Parting gets it for me. Parting does like the weirdest, coolest things, and I love it every time I see him play. So definitely not the best as far as results go, without question. That for me goes to Life, I'd say, but Parting's definitely a big honorable mention on that list.
What about you, Zombie Grub?
I was gonna go with Parting.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Parting saved esports with his stream this year too.
Yeah, we can't forget that. That adds a lot to it. I don't know. Maybe it's like anti-Zerg bias, but I really like Zerg. I don't know. But like Parting, whenever he won, he really impressed me. Like he did things that we didn't think Protoss could actually get away with. And yeah, there were definitely reasons. Like people dissected that versus Flash finals like all day long, but everyone expected, oh my god, Bio versus Blink Stalkers, Bio is going to win, and he proved him wrong consistently. He went on to do like our tournaments and use Blink Stalker all-ins and win after we were like, well, there's Bio, there's like a million Widow Mines, there's no way, and he wins, and I don't know, it's like miracle Parting. So he's like the most impressive.
You sound starstruck.
Yes, I
I am starstruck watching parties control sometimes. So seriously, like, you think Blake Stock is, you're like, okay, they got their limits, but not the Parting.
Yeah,
not
so
Parting.
I mean, yeah, it was just impressive, the games that he actually, tournaments that he won, games that he played.
I really like Life, personally, for Best Player of the Year. I think just because he's just so unique in the way he plays and the way he beat MMA at BlizzCon and how he performed there was just really cool. That's my opinion. But yeah, lots of good contenders. Do you guys have to pee? Should we take a break? I was thinking of doing like a one-part show, but
push on.
All right.
Unless anybody else, you know.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Rippin' Pepperino, the bladders. Alright. What are you doing with the Google Doc?
Are we playing Snake?
Guys.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
This is not middle school. Alright. Guys, next category.
If I don't stand up for the rights of men, who will?
Oh god.
Alright.
Right.
Hey, is there any other foreign team that I forgot to add to the list that you guys think is worthy?
Yoey Flash Wolves?
6, 8.
Oh, that's technically foreign.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But they... Yeah.
Okay. Should we even mention EG?
No.
Not really.
No, EG didn't do much in 20.
EG?
Tried ATC. I
EG
like
had like
EG team, but I don't
EG
think
had the
that's
biggest slowdown of any team this year. Like, they didn't have any success at all in StarCraft. It felt like, it's to me.
Should we put Millennium?
But guys, don't say that because our Twitch overlords will shut us down.
But Millennium is... Okay. Okay. Yeah, but the problem with best foreign team is they're the best because they have Koreans in them.
Yeah,
it's such a fucked
So
up.
then let's talk about the teams that contributed the most to the foreign scene. Which teams picked up foreign players and actually did something with them? In that hand, you know, not entirely coincidentally,
Gaming.
I think My Insanity did a really good job. My Insanity and Root both
Yes.
put several non-Korean players in their houses, whether or not they were on their team or not. Both of them opened their doors. I think Petraeus was
Actually,
staying
yeah.
for a while at the MYI house. Obviously, Kane's had a place to stay and practice. I know the Root house, they let the ex-Fnatic boys come practice and play. Yeah, I think if we're looking at like foreign teams, those teams, as much as people love to shit talk Root or whatever, and maybe there's no results from MYI yet, they still do a lot more for foreign players than any of the other teams by far.
Well, let's not forget My Insanity. Also, this doesn't get publicized as much, but they are a big part of like hosting and taking part in a lot of lands over in like Switzerland. So it's not like they just have a team house. They do a lot of stuff that maybe isn't the most popular thing you've ever seen on Twitch. So maybe you didn't know that there's like this big Swedish land or something that they put on and had a sponsor shirt for or whatever. So I would definitely say, like, in terms of if we're not looking at like results, we're looking at the way they've contributed. I would agree with Nate. Like MYI for sure, without a doubt, to me at least.
Obviously, Team Acer has Scarlet, and obviously Team Liquid has Snoot and Bunny, but outside of having those two players on the team,
you're forgetting Mana, man,
and Mana. But outside of having players on their team, the teams that did the most for foreign players in general, I'd say MII and Root.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Okay. Well, I put YoFlash, Root, Acer, MYI, and Team Liquid, so the community can vote for their favorite or the best foreign team, the one they think is the most deserving. Kane, what are your thoughts?
Hey guys, you remember when Mouse Sports said they would never pick up Koreans because they're all about the foreign scene?
They picked up Shaq.
I think that was the joke, Desmond.
Oh. Alright.
They also picked up
Deer. Yeah, like, no big deal, just that guy. Just
Pick up
Deer.
for like a month.
Yeah.
It's kind of a sad contract.
Yeah, we'll get to that. It's in the later notes. Kane, what are your thoughts? Best foreign team, without being too biased.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty biased. I've seen the MYI house and I've seen a lot of foreign players come and go, and kind of what it does for them. And yeah, like I'm very. I know what's going on with the Swiss lands and like all the newspapers and media that they do. So I know a lot about MYI and I know how much they do for the foreign scene. So I would have to go MYI, but I'm really fucking biased anyway.
So who's second best in your opinion after MYI?
I would say Team Liquid is really good at like picking up foreigners that I don't know. They're really good at picking up foreigners and seeing the potential in them. So I would probably say Team Liquid second, but I'm close with a lot of people on Team Liquid, so I'm kind of biased at the same time. So I'm a terrible person to ask, in other words.
I really like that you're worried about your MYI bias, but you're actually not wearing your jersey, yet Nate is.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I just got back from going out, so.
It's okay. You look really good, so it's acceptable.
Thank you. You do too, especially in that MYI jersey. It's sexy as hell. I think everybody should wear an MYI jersey all the time because it looks good as hell. And
yeah, is this the part where you plug the shopping link?
Esports Clothing, Logitech, World of CD Keys, Bison. I mean, they're great sponsors, and everybody should go check them out. And
wait, are we talking My Insanity or Tempo Storm?
No, hey, shut up.
Well met.
What's Tempo Storm?
It's a team with the same jersey.
They stole our jersey. They stole our jersey.
They have almost identical jerseys, yeah.
Oh, did they really? That's so messed up, man. What about you, Zambigron? Best foreign team?
Yeah, I'm still a little confused on what we mean by best foreign team.
Yes.
Do we mean like literally the best results, or do we mean they helped out the foreign community?
I would say best result. Like who's like the strongest? Like who packs the biggest punch?
I still don't know the answer.
I think because we've been talking about like what they do for the foreign scene. I think if it is the biggest punch, Acer. I mean, Acer won Acer Team Story Cup like how many times? Like every time. Like their team is really good. You got Scarlet, as Nate mentioned before. You got MMA. You got okay. You had Innovation at a point. There's Nurchio. There's Bly. I mean, their team does have really good players on it. They're not the champions of the world, but I think in a team league setting, they're always going to perform well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay, so I guess we'll move on. Sorry. Best tournament of the year. Now, guys, is there any tournament? I felt like all the Red Bulls ones were like sort of lacklusters.
Oh, DC was amazing, but all the other ones.
DC was incredible. The
So-
other
so,
ones were
okay,
like
so we'll
good
put
for different reasons.
Okay, we'll put DC. Yeah, it's
I'm gonna have to go with MLG or DreamHack Moscow. I think that
Wow.
was by far the best tournament of the year.
why.
Oh, you know, it was a great tournament overall. Great viewer numbers, great players, great gameplay.
Okay, he's
Really-
trolling. All right. Anything else besides what's on the list?
I mean, if we're talking about like which ones had like the best matches and final blah 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 blah,
Yeah.
I actually really liked, because I can't, when I think about tournament finals this year, which makes me obviously think about the tournament, I can't not think about season 2 finals for WCS just because Pig Baby Bomber was actually fucking sick, but like for overall tournament.
Yeah.
It's actually quite difficult. There were quite a few shitty tournaments this year. Now that I think about it,
I
as
know,
far
like
as,
it's like
matches
I
go.
want. I
Like,
want
all the
to see
dream hacks
BlizzCon,
were
right, but
like most of the dream hacks, like as far as game quality go this year, were pretty terrible.
Yep.
Right? DreamHack Winter was pretty much saved by the finals. Stockholm was a bloodbath. I'm not. Yeah, I'm probably just gonna go with season 2. Like as far as like other stuff around the tournaments, I really like that Red Bull was there for us to have like an American tournament circuit, and a lot, the blah 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 exposure to bad players, blah 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 blah, blah, But outside of that,
Yeah.
I
So
like the finals.
yeah. So by the way, guys, Nate is a black sheep because his tournament's not on the list because, I mean, he's biased. So the best tournaments this year: IEM Toronto, Red Bull DC, WCS Global Finals, and IEM Katowice with the 100K winner takes all and the Naniwa drama. That was pretty good.
I guess technically, yeah. That was pretty good.
Oh, does Pro League count?
Oh, Pro League, yeah. Can I say
Oh!
Why did I
Oh!
think about that? I was thinking about weekend tournaments. The Pro League finals was easily one of the best.
It was so packed, man. It was so
Pro League
great.
was amazing. Pro League
Yeah.
was amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Okay. I was thinking. My brain was thinking about weekend tournaments. So thank you,
Yeah.
Zombie Grub.
so Zombie Grub, what's your favorite tournament this year?
Pro League.
No offense.
what a surprise!
Why?
Because it's amazing. Why do you mean why? God.
I'm
no.
just saying, I mean,
That's
like,
really
is it like
good.
because Flash kicked the football, or?
Well, I guess. Well, it's really hard, right? Because Pro League has an advantage that it is a actual league, as opposed to the finals. I don't know if we're talking about only the finals. If we're talking about only the finals.
Everything. I mean, we're talking about tournament, right? So
Yeah, we're talking
Okay.
about like an event, so like the Pro League finals would be that competing against the other events. Does that make
Oh.
sense?
Okay, so it's the finals.
Yes, yes.
Okay, if it's only the Pro League finals, I would still give it to it though because it has all of that history before it. Like it's really hard to just be like just the Pro League finals. Like it was so hyped.
A great build up and
Yeah,
great players.
Yeah.
but
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. What about you, Kane?
That's a tough question. Like a lot of tournaments, I only watch when there's Zergs playing, so I don't watch the full tournament.
Yeah.
Like it's I'll tell you my favorite tournament of the year was IEM Toronto.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. In terms
Yeah.
of like best tournament for viewers and stuff, I don't know, but to be there and to watch and spectate and be in the crowd, it was IEM Toronto for me.
Yeah. Okay.
IEM Toronto was pretty turned.
Yeah.
For me, the games were so much better at IEM Toronto, but the atmosphere and the arena for the global finals, that was something.
Yeah, well that can't be.
Well,
That's not fair though. But the problem is you can't call BlizzCon the best tournament with all the delays of blah blah blah.
Right.
yeah, there was too much that went wrong for like. There's so much that went
Exactly.
well, but
Like,
there was
was
also
it,
so much that
like,
went wrong.
If we had a category for best tournament stage, yes. Best tournament crowd, yes. Best, I don't fucking know, dude. Like, yeah, that's I guess best.
That
venue.
that stage, like if that was like the only deciding factor, that wins without question. Like it's not even close.
Yeah.
Even with the fuck ups on this stage, that was still the coolest and best stage I've ever seen in my life.
But I can't say it was the best tournament ever because a lot of shit went wrong.
yeah, all the games are crappy because of it too. Well,
Oh,
Yeah.
innovation. Or
I'm pretty sure that it had an impact on the way some of those series played out too. Yeah. Of
Oh,
course.
hell yeah. Every time there was a delay, the person who was winning ended up losing.
that,
It
and like
actually
there was
happened.
times too, like innovation was like sitting there, like he was just straight up gonna cry. It looked like, you know,
Yeah,
was,
apparently
it was
he was actually
heartbreaking.
gonna ask to just quit.
Yeah.
Like
Pull
he
it
got
anyway.
really dramatic.
Well,
Understandable though.
that sucks.
So it's like as good as WCS was, there's also a lot of bad things to it. So I don't think it'd be even close to call it the best tournament of the year.
What about IDM Katowice? It was a pretty good crowd. The 100K, winner takes all. Other guy gets
to be
nothing.
fair, I Am Katowice did have everything. You had the rage quit out, the epic rage quit that ended Naniwa's career. You had the epic PvP final with more proxy 2 gates than you could hold. It was I have to give it that. That was pretty good.
Yeah. What about you, RifKin? I didn't get
See,
to you.
well, there's two things for me. Like, one is like I know we're kind of like just talking about like the finals here, but like you rate best tournament, so that makes me think start to finish. And
Yeah.
for me, like that's got to go to Home Story Cup 10 personally. Like I always love Home Story Cups. Like it's a whole different breed of atmosphere. Getting the player casters in there, having the funny jokes. I mean, it's not nearly the biggest crowd of the year by any stretch of the imagination. And if we are going to include finals, those finals were fucking fantastic. But just there's so much more to it that like everything leading up to those finals was just as good as the finals. So for me, that's why I would say Home Story Cup 10.
Okay.
I was on a plane for most of that, so I can't really speak to
Yeah,
it.
I was in Peru for most of that. So
Wow.
yes, living the dream. All right. Next
Too bad
up.
we weren't.
We were trying.
No.
All right. So best organization production. Is there anyone that should be added?
Oh,
Yes. Why is Base Trade TV not in there,
yeah.
desRow?
Oh
But-
yeah.
Jesus,
but it's
excuse
about,
you.
but it's about.
We on the regular have very consistent production, and I'm pretty sure we get heralded for this. So I'm just
but
saying.
I'm talking about like big offline
We're talking
tournaments.
about
Are
offline,
you
Whoa.
inferring that we're not big, desRow? Are you inferring
Whoa,
we're just some
desRow.
tiny little weekend warriors?
Okay, this one should be really easy. As far as production goes.
Do you feel there's other nominees though? Is my question.
Oh, you're looking at. Oh, okay. I didn't even look at your list for this. I thought we were just talking. Best tournament production by far has to be Red Bull. There was absolutely
Yeah.
no
Yes.
for pretty much all the tournaments. There was absolutely zero downtime. They had interview segments and they had like the clips from all the stuff that was going on about it. Like, you know, there was always content for them to put on. Like they even fucking put us on a bus so that they could make a video about us having a trip down from Toronto to go to like see Detroit. So even though they're like, oh shit guys, we have a 4-minute break we're like the production guys are like losing the shit because they have a 4-minute break. They're like, we can't go straight to the next game. And then someone's like, we actually have this video, so it doesn't even matter. So like they were so on top of their shit. And in DC, when we went into DC, like the first thing the production guy told us, he's like, our plan for the show is to have absolutely no screens with numbers on them counting down. And that's they pretty much pulled that off. Except like they stopped for a 5-minute break in the dead center of the tournament, and then it was just complete smooth sailing. I don't think any tournament could compete with especially Red Bull DC this year.
So, I actually have a very strong opinion I want to throw into that ring.
Hey,
First of all, I'll agree.
wait. Oh, guys, go vote. Go vote. You go on. Sorry, go vote.
Okay. Yeah, vote in the straw poll, guys. It's in chat. It's getting spammed by desRow. Red Bull definitely had some of the coolest production when you're watching it. There was, I gotta tell you though, like honestly, we're talking organization here, and I know that this isn't reference to like a whole like I don't know Red Bull itself, but like the actual organization of the tournament was a mess in my opinion. Red Bull was without a doubt the worst experience I've ever had trying to community cast anything ever.
Oh.
It was really messy and really bad, but that stuff didn't really get publicized. And that's fine because that's again them covering their production really well. And I think the coolest parts for me though, like not to get dwelling on the negative. That's the only negative I would give Red Bull. But a lot of the positive stuff is what Nate said. I thought some of the coolest things was the way they handled a lot of the stage stuff too, and even the joke things, or not the joke things, that triple elimination stuff that they ran. Like you see players walking around in the background. You got like that sort of background interview with like Day 9, like. I don't think people understand just how big of a deal no downtime is. Like, we can say that right now, and you might write it off. But then you watch DreamHack, and you're sitting there for an hour listening to, like, the weirdest music and watching the weirdest YouTube videos in that hour. But, no, Red Bull fucking just knocked it out of the park when it came to downtime handling, and for that's why I would give them best production of the year for sure.
Yeah, that's one thing I wanted to mention is like I brought up because if some of you guys might watch Dota 2 and the International has 0 downtime, and it's something I brought up to a few people like behind DreamHack and so on, and it's something that they don't seem to grasp. Like it's okay to show ads, but that should be like it shouldn't be like your go-to for downtime. And Red Bull really nailed that. I put IEM and DreamHack on the list because, MLG did a one tournament, and they really sucked a lot they sucked a lot. Who would be the second best behind Red Bull? IEM or DreamHack, Kane?
I don't know. That's a tough question. I went to both IEMs and DreamHacks this year, so being there, that's a tough one. That's a really, really tough one. I kind of want to say DreamHack. Like it's kind of a toss-up though. What do you guys think?
I think DreamHack is shit. But the problem is IEM is even more shit because they've been using the music.
No,
they've been using the same music for
no. Stop. First
years.
off, like you can say that they're not the best. That might be a fact.
Yes.
But to go as far as to call either of them shit, that's retarded.
Yes.
That's like
very
saying
mean.
Cure is shit because he didn't beat out the Tasia in the finals or something. You know, like that's not
Fuck
right.
you, desRow.
All right. I feel like they're very content with being mediocre. I wish
both of those organizations, like outside of, this is where I give IEM the advantage because they explored new venues that they put StarCraft and blah, blah, even if it was for their other productions as well. Like, I felt like there was a little bit of growth or creativity. Like Katowice, the $100,000 thing was fucking crazy. Like, the way that they ran their tournament, DreamHack this year seemed very busy with other things, which is probably why we're hearing about changes for next year and whatnot. But IEM definitely beat DreamHack hands down this year, especially with quality of games. Like no one of the DreamHacks at all were anywhere near as good as IEM Toronto. Like I said, most of the DreamHacks are pretty horrible, like Winter included until the finals.
I agree.
But the thing that really bugs me about IEM is like their production. It's like always the same music. It's always the same like environment.
Yeah.
It's always the same style. It's
but DreamHack, we would have said the same thing last year, except this year it actually got a little bit lesser. So, like at least IEM didn't get worse. And they if the production stays the same, but they move into a fucking stadium, like come on, like where you're choosing where you're going to invest increases and stuff, right?
Yeah.
I feel though a lot of the attention we're putting on this is stuff that's outside of like the games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if we're talking about the production at this point, we already talked about the best tournament as far as games go.
Yeah.
Well, okay, but we're talking about the run-up or whatever for production, organization, whatever. And one of the things is like, okay, maybe the music's not the best, but like there's a lot of instances where I think DreamHack had some very large problems when it came to like player side, I guess.
Yes. Well, about the people getting into the lobbies.
Yeah, or the power outage of that one DreamHack. I mean, there's a whole slew of things that went wrong on the player side of things, and I think that definitely falls under production because like without players, without games, you obviously have no production. So I think for me that's it's not that I think IEM's is loads better, but I think DreamHack just falls short in that category for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. Fair enough. Red Bull wins hands down. Can't wait to see them more. Can't wait to chug Red Bull for free at events again. It's the greatest thing. It's like after the first event, people like told how it went on Reddit, and they were like, "Don't get a spectator pass, get a player pass, because at least you get free Red Bull. It doesn't matter if you get knocked out early." And so people signed up more for.
Oh, I didn't even realize that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you're a spectator, it's like $3 a can. If you're a player, it's like it's free.
You don't have to be a player. You can be anything, basically above spectator. So media, press, VIP.
Nice.
Sorry.
I was VIP, so I got a bunch of free Red Bull.
Wow, you're so cool.
I didn't even get a VIP badge. Someone gave it to me, like a friend gave it to me.
Wow, dude.
Get me kicked out of other Red Bull events.
That's nice. Next category, which is our last. So it might be a shorter show, guys. But if you want to make it longer, go ask questions on Reddit. And you can also ask questions on Twitter. All right, the most talked about roster change.
Most talked about roster change, like
Yes.
overall, I think the.
There's a list. There's a list. Are you looking at the
Oh
list?
my god, we have a list.
I actually kind of like that Nate's not going off the list though, because it
Yeah.
could add something that we didn't put on.
What were you
Yeah.
gonna say, Nate? What were you gonna
Yeah,
say?
don't read the
Honestly,
list.
honestly,
Nate.
Don't get
I
censored
haven't.
by
So
this.
I haven't opened the list yet, and I wasn't sure if this was something that we would count. But do we talk about the Naniwa Alliance thing? Is that on
Yes.
the list?
But it's
It is
yeah.
on the list.
That was a pretty. Obviously, that came out of the Katowice thing that I just mentioned. But like,
Guys, what about
as far as-
Sparta leaving?
as far as
Who?
as far as other roster changes go, I don't think there was anything that really blew my mind outside of maybe, Jadon not leaving Evil Geniuses. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, it would have been nice to see him back in Pro
Oh.
League.
Here we go. Complete overhaul of MVP.
Oh yeah, that happened.
But yeah,
Everybody's on MVP.
I gotta
Yeah.
agree with Nate though. Like the biggest talked about roster change is probably the Naniwa thing. Also the deer, yeah, it's on the list here. The deer removed from Mouse. Everybody saw Mouse as like the big scumbag there because they picked him up. He didn't get good results, and then they kind of booted him off, like a couple months later.
Yeah, people talked
Yeah.
about that quite a bit.
Yeah.
I think, but here's the thing: like Naniwa's roster change, I feel like that was just if that came like 3 months later, that wouldn't have been talked about as much. I think it was like a lot of people writing off the whole like booing off the stage and the drama that was that. I don't think the roster change from Alliance was really that big of a deal in comparison to some of the other ones desRow has on the list, but it was definitely the most talked about without question.
Yeah, I think Rain parting and Fantasy leaving SKT after they finished second, after SKT was such like a big powerhouse, to see them leave the boat like that, I think that was like pretty. Everyone was losing their shit. Like on Reddit, they're like, "No, there's no money in the foreign scene. What are you doing? Stop!" And then everyone found a house eventually. Everyone found a home, but that was pretty scary. Like, because you don't know if that was like the beginning of the end for Kispo. Like, if a lot of Koreans think they can make money abroad and they all leave and then they don't, and then like Pro League gets canceled or delayed, that could have like.
Soki found a team?
Yeah, he's on TCM. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, I forgot to add Soki in there.
I mean, is that like the big epic roster change that we're surprised by? These guys really don't have
I
a
don't
lot
think
of
so.
options when they leave Korean teams. I don't know what they're expecting, but there's not a lot.
Yeah. What about you, RifKin? Your biggest roster change?
Well, I think the whole departure of innovation from Acer was probably not the most talked about, but for me that was a pretty big deal.
Mhm.
I thought between MMA and innovation, like Acer had it on lockdown for like a really sick roster. Some of the best Terrans, of course. Him leaving wasn't exactly the biggest shock, I think, to most, and I think that's why it wasn't talked about. But I thought it was probably one of the bigger deals of the year because that's the foreign team. Acer losing like probably one of the most key players to their team, especially. Outside of that, you've got written down here Stefano Dre Meltdown. I thought that was pretty cool actually because I think that's the most unique roster change.
Yeah.
Like to be
definitely.
sponsored by a bar, that is insane. That's like groundbreaking for esports, and it's really cool what they've done with it since. Like the whole Barcraft thing, where it's like him versus MC, and you could buy shots to vote for who you liked more. Like I thought that was really cool.
That's really cool. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
No, that's pretty the point. Like it's really cool seeing that come. But yeah, innovation for me was definitely one of the ones that hit me the hardest. I think the most whoa moments.
Yeah. I think Mouse removing Deer after what happened and being like, "Oh, you didn't learn English, even though it was in your contract." Like, can you imagine the struggle? You were like the best, one of the best Protoss player in 2013. Then you like you have a good contract, things are going well, but then like you have pressure to learn English and you suck at it and you're struggling, and then you're still trying to be good at the game, and then you fail out of Code A and you get back home and they're like, "Yeah, we're done with you." Imagine you're like in Deer's shoes. You're like, how worse can it get?
That's a pretty shitty year. Yeah.
Yeah, but luckily for him, he found a Kespa team with Samsung, and he's back on track to becoming a good player again. But yeah, guys, we're gonna get to your questions. So get on Reddit, get on Twitter if you have questions for the panel. Zombie Grub wasn't announced at the panel at first, so you might have not asked a question about her. So
Did you just call her Zombie Gwub?
No,
Zombie.
That's what it sounded like.
Yeah, we'll make a dubstep song out of it.
Really, it's more like a children's book. Like Zombie
Yeah,
went to the
I
market.
kind of like it, like Zombie
Yeah.
Gwub.
Oh, I already.
Gwub.
Oh, I get it.
Oh, god damn it, Rifkin. Alright. Let me get to the Reddit thread. Alright. What are your thoughts on the recent Dark vs. Marine King game in which he went for a Roach Bling Corruptor style against Bio? New meta incoming. Kane.
Was that last night?
Yes,
Yeah.
this morning.
Okay, yeah. So it's Pro League is on at 4 o'clock in the morning for me, and I had a busy day today, so I didn't get a chance to see those VODs yet.
So what you're
Sorry.
saying is you didn't watch the game.
So you have
Right.
no passion.
I have no passion.
Alright.
Well,
Nate, did you
thankfully,
see
I'm
the
here
game?
to save esports because, of course, I watched the game. It was really weird because Marine King did, like, in Marine King fashion, a really greedy build that I personally think is usually able to deal with this, but there was, like, this like, Roach Ling push he made while he was getting his lair, without his Baneling Nest, that kind of, like, slowed him down, even though he did this really greedy build. Like, he couldn't actually take his third maybe as fast as he wanted. And then I'm not actually sure, because when I was watching the game, it didn't look to me like Dark had this massive advantage. But I guess the idea is, like, he managed to get a couple of these, like, Baneling run-bys in, which, you know, is bouquet of mules, yeah, but when your opponent's playing with, like, a really fast max-out style like this, it's really strong. But my guess is that usually when you're playing versus Roaches with Bio, you assume that Roaches suck because 99% of cases against the Stem Bio army, they do. But basically, Marine King just overextended too heavily on his pressure. Like, you don't want to attack a player that's playing Roach Ling directly. Like, it's just better to drop them. And he didn't really do that. Like, there weren't Mutalisks really at any point in that game. And, like, Marine King just like, let me attack into a guy whose army is only good at killing armies and head-on engagements. And that's why I lost.
Wow, Marine King made like bad decisions, really?
Yeah, Marine King made some poor life choices. If you're playing against, like, a standard Zerg player, and they don't, like, if you don't have roaches in your army, then of course, yeah, you can just attack, and then, you know, you pull back, leave the Marauders up front. But when you leave Marauders up front and there's 20 roaches, they're actually gonna die. So.
Yeah. This actually
Yeah.
sounds really familiar. I only caught bits and pieces of the game. I realized he went Roach, like, Ling and also Corruptor,
Yeah.
but I didn't really watch all of it. But this...
Like, someone mentioned the Corruptors in the thread, but I'm like, it wasn't really a significant part of the game. You probably just
Right.
X.
Yeah,
Well,
it was at the
there's-
end. Like,
They do well versus Medivac. Like, they're pretty beefy.
they do. Well... Okay, so I was just gonna say this actually, I'm pretty sure this has actually happened before. I'm not sure, like, in, like, Pro League, or maybe it was just, like, online cups that we cast, but I'm pretty sure, like, Roach, Hydra Corruptor was a thing. Like, people would actually use Corruptors as, you know, defense, and then go into Broodlords. So that could have been, like, the next step in his mind, if he wasn't already winning Broodlords. Much less so, like, not about the killing the medevacs, although they help at the
I've seen
time.
some of those segues, yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, moving on to the next question. Question for all the guests. What do they think that StarCraft 2 community is missing or lacking? Things we need to do so we can improve and develop better as a community. This guy's being a good citizen of the community, by the way.
That's like actually a good question. So, I mean, people, yeah, well, I mean, the obvious thing is when you see people shit posting or putting stupid shit on, like, Reddit or whatever, downvote it. Don't fuel the drama fire, because people get a little bit too caught up in that. Outside of that, yeah, that's my suggestion.
Yeah.
I think that we need a heart, because right now it's a dead game, so.
Yeah. look at us. I mean, we're pretty much giving the sermon here at this funeral, right? Like, that's
Yeah.
what's going on here.
Okay, jokes aside, I think there is one really key thing you guys could do, and that is get involved. It sounds so silly and so cheesy and like, oh my god, the more you know and all this, but seriously, getting on Twitter, like tweeting at Nathanias, tell him, oh dude, you're rocking it, hashtag WCS, or like sharing with your buddies, like, hey man, I know you're not really into StarCraft, but check this out, there's really funny things happening, or Reddit, or Team Liquid, whatever the case may be. I mean, seriously, sitting there just watching with ad block on is like the worst thing you could do. Like, get involved one way or the other, whether it's watching ads to benefit a company that's trying to live, whether it's getting on Twitter and sharing with your friends, or whether it's just posting something on Reddit or getting involved with a live reaction thread on Team Liquid. I mean, seriously, guys, you can't put a price on how valuable it is that you just get more involved with what you're doing.
Yeah, I agree with that. What about you, Zombie Grub?
It's he asked like what the community can do, right?
Yes.
I'm trying to look at the question. Oh. That's the only thing I can think of is what these guys already said. I do believe that a lot of it comes down to Blizzard. Oh.
No, you're talking about the game again. It's not Blizzard's job to make everybody not an asshole.
That's true.
If you want to, if I'm sure there's a question in this somewhere in this thread whining about Legacy of the Void. We'll get to the Blizzard part.
Right.
Yeah.
This is on the community for upvoting shit posts. Okay, that's a problem.
Yeah. I think, I think people like making fun of Scion on Reddit, they need to go fuck off, and people need to downvote. So, like, anytime there's a circle jerk about just being a dick, don't be part of that circle jerk, or don't be the dick who starts it. That would help the community do better. Kane, do you have an actual answer, or you're gonna stick with that joke?
No, I was thinking I should have said a coffin instead of a heart. But no,
God.
I kind of I agree with that RifKin and Nathan were saying for sure. And yeah, Zombie Grub, sorry, I kind of got to disagree because like I know that a lot of it does come down to Blizzard, but there are certain things in the community that we can do, like getting more involved and just being more positive in general, that can kind of contribute to a more positive outlook on the game.
Well, I want to stress this too. It doesn't have to just be positivity. Like, we don't need to be farting sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns.
Yeah.
But like, seriously, just weeding out the cesspool.
Yeah,
bare
yeah.
minimum, right? Like,
No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. You think which player? Okay, hold on. Could you guys talk about which player you think are up and coming or dark horses to win tournaments? Dark, Rogue, Dream, and just young players with a lot of potential. Kane, do you think there's any like upcomer that can win the tournament next year?
Koreans or okay. Any Dark is one of those guys that's been really good for a long time now, but he hasn't really gotten the hype that he deserves, I think. Another one of those guys would be, I want to say, Cure.
Yes.
Like he does get some hype behind him, but I think that he's like sickly good. So I definitely watch out for him. I'm not talking age here or anything because these guys aren't young, or I don't know how old Cure is. I don't think he's young, but yeah. And of course, like he mentioned there, Rogue as well. I'd have to look at a more complete list of Korean players, but I agree that Dark, Rogue, and somebody like Cure could be really, really scary in the next year.
Okay. RifKin.
well, actually, sorry, I just want to bring this back for a second, because I feel there's one more thing I want to add into what we were saying before about saving the community or whatever. For you guys in Twitch chat, this is coming from the point of view of someone who's like, I don't get hired by the cast. He's like, I really care about our chat. It's Base Straight TV's our home and all that. Even if it's just something simple like discussing the game in chat, maybe you're just making jokes, or maybe you're actually saying, well, I really wish Cure had done X instead of Y. Small things like that are a really big deal, because all of a sudden it makes other people want to get more involved too. So I just want to add that one last point onto the end of it. As far as like up and coming people, dude, don't fucking ask me. I don't know. I got no clue. I just love going with the flow of things. So I got no good answers for this.
My up-and-coming players are the players that came back that I hope do well again. Marine, Kane, blah, 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 blah. I hope. Who's up-and-coming? I hope Intense has a great year next year. But if we're talking about Koreans, I don't know, man. Bravo won a game, right? So maybe he's going to be like the secret Banjo or something.
What about you, Zombie Grub? Why do you feel like a Grinch?
Oh, different. Well, we're off that topic, right?
Yes.
But for me, my up-and-coming player is obviously Journey. Please. He's gonna get on the SKT actual roster and play in Pro League, and he's gonna get really good, and he's gonna start winning everything. He's gonna go the Cure route, and he's actually gonna win Red Bull, though. There you go.
Okay. To RifKin, why are smaller tournaments always so invite-heavy? Do you have any concrete... Is that the three-part question? Do you have any concrete experience of player pools based on qualification attracting less viewers? Isn't the competitive integrity of a tournament also worthwhile protecting as part of its image? People
I
talk
feel like-
about qualification being a lot of extra work, which is true, but in that case, are invitation based on ladder ranking really that bad?
Okay, so first off, I feel like a good portion of this is coming off of recent events.
Yes.
No.
But no way, right? I think the big thing I have to answer for this, because there's no matter what I say, someone's gonna get their jimmies wrestled. Honestly, though, at the end of the day, it's so just fucking simple to say, hey, buds, I know you're talented players. I've seen you play in Go for StarCraft, Zotacs, IEMs. Like, keep in mind, we cast so much, we know who's kind of like gonna be fun to watch versus good. But it's just simplicity, honestly. Is the like if people are talking about like the 8-man invites, like you know the U8 and wait, there's more and all that. Like it's just simplicity. There's nothing else really to it. I love
Invites
doing
make everything
qualifiers.
simpler.
They do. I love doing qualifiers. So look at like our last 3 or so events, guys. Like we try to run qualifiers, and regardless of what gets happened or not, I every chance I can. If we're not stressed on a schedule, if we're not tight for time, if it's not gonna be a big headache, and we have like a proper admin, I'll always run a qualifier. But truth be told, most of the time, we just want to run something awesome that's gonna take us 3 to 5 days that we don't kill ourselves in stress over. So
Yeah,
simplicity.
And having somewhat an idea of how all of this works, for people that don't like invites, look at it this way: you run some sort of qualifier, you make your tournament a qualifier only, and it turns out your qualifiers are actually at like a really bad time because you have to run multiple of them for certain regions or whatever, blah 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 blah. So there's only so many spaces for like the good Korean players or whatever, the guys that are going to draw you to get viewers and to actually qualify. And then someone's like, well, you know, why does your tournament have to be all about Koreans? Well, when at the end of the day, when your tournament's over and you're trying to justify to your sponsor having another tournament, and then there's no viewers because none of the Koreans could qualify because the qualifiers were all ran at bad times, and the 2 qualifiers that weren't only had 2 spots available for an 8-player tournament, you know, then it's like, okay, you had some sort of nice competitive thing where we got to see the 2 Koreans still manage to win after killing all the other people that qualified anyway, but now, because you didn't actually have, like, a really good tournament, which you could have maybe gotten out of invites, because maybe even your good foreign players won't be able to show up to the qualifiers. Like, it hurts your viewership, and then, yeah, good luck trying to argue with somebody when you have shit viewers to give you more money to run in their tournament.
I just want to stress too, when it comes to our invites, we tend to just find people who are reliable. It's really sad to say this. There's a lot of times in StarCraft 2, guys, you wish you could just pick names and they would stick to a schedule or nothing bad would happen.
Not true at all. A lot of people really, 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 I don't want to use the word flaky, but that's pretty much that's pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah.
There are certain players I will never invite to play in anything because I simply, I could get a yes from them and be like, well, they're probably not going to show up, so. Yeah.
Ooh,
And on the
Nathan.
No, that's a really bad idea.
Here's the thing, like on the other side of it, and this is again not trying to take shots at anybody or favoritism or anything like that. There are some guys out there like who, if I ask them, they're going to be available 24/7, and I know they'll show up at any time. I can tell them to play at 3 in the morning; they'll be there. So, a lot of times, like those are the guys that are really high on the preference list. I don't care about inviting, like, okay, between say Jaedong and Bly, 2 very different players with 2 different levels of fame. I know that Bly's going to be there no matter what, whenever, and I don't even have to ask him. Whereas Jaedong's got a big schedule, and he has to make sure it's not conflicting with other events. He's not flying, so it is always hard to appease and please everybody. But I think we do a pretty good job of picking the reliable and the fun players.
Mm-hmm. All right. Next question. What do you think of the multiplayer update changes, specifically the economy? Do you think this change will stay? He's talking about the 750 and 1500 minerals, because so to put things in context, some people might not know, Blizzard wanted to do 1,000 mineral per patch for every patch, but what they did instead is they did 1500 for 4 and 750 for 4 of the patches, which is almost the same thing, except it mines out faster. So you end up with a bunch of useless probes, and then there's this stats page made by someone on Reddit, which says, game starts, mining 1 base, you take your natural at 2 minutes, and basically, like, by 14 minutes, you need to be, like, on 5 base, otherwise you end up, like, having, like, useless workers. So, Kane, what are your thoughts on the new mineral change?
I love it, and I said this ever since they first introduced it. I love that you're gonna have to expand a lot more. Like, I'm looking at this chart right now, and it says like 6th base by 17 minutes about. That's absolutely sick. That's going to make things a lot more interesting. That's going to make things like mech a lot more boring. It's going to get rid of a lot of turtley playstyles, and that's what people love to see. Like, even in Brood War, people love to see little battles all over the map. They love to see very fast play, focus on a lot of, expanding, defending those expansions without, sitting in your base for 20 minutes. Because the way it is now, you can stay on 3 bases for, 20 minutes, guys? Something like that. And it's still fine. Like, I can play Swarm Host, and I can have 3 or 4 bases by, 30 minutes, and I'm absolutely fine.
Yeah, you only need if you play mech, like you play your mech game out, you take your 4th, and then that's pretty much it. Like everything else that's going to happen in that game is determined by what you do on 4 bases. Someone might say, "Well, you let Avalo get 6 bases." Yeah, but like that's because both players traded and the game went really long, and you don't always have those good games. Most of the time, you can just win off of 4 bases or 3 if we're on smaller maps. Like you just need 3 bases and you can win any game.
Okay. First of all, well, you can even do on 2 bases. We cast so many Immortal Senshi games that actually go on and they stay on 2 bases.
Why is it 25 minutes in? Why is this not over?
I didn't realize we were getting into pro tossing again, but yeah, there's that.
I actually, I really like this because I also look at this, and despite the timing for the base expansions, I also see this as an option to have less focus on having like 90 drones out, for example. Which means you're going to see players with bigger army supplies as a consequence. And you might, whether it's for splitting off and having run-bys while there's a big engagement, or whether it's an even bigger death ball, I really don't know where the game's going to go with it. But I just like the idea that there's more to fight with than there's the necessity of having a ton of workers.
Yeah. Yeah, you might see people make less worker now, too, with this addition. Next question. This is... Do you guys think I should keep practicing or wait until Legacy of the Void, given I need to relearn a lot?
Who's asking? Is it just some random person?
Wait till Legacy of the Void, dude. It's gonna be a completely different game, son. Most that you learn now.
No, mechanics.
My answer not pure enough? Was I supposed to tell him that he's
depends on why he's playing right now. Like, why is he playing right now? Is he trying to be like really, really good? Or is he playing for fun?
Yeah, it all comes down to that. I think that's a good question.
I mean, okay, so my analogy when it comes to playing, what I always tell people on stream or whenever they want to buy coaching and stuff is like, if I wanted to run a marathon now, it would take me like 3, maybe a year, okay, whatever. But it's the same thing with StarCraft. It's like, if you don't like practice your mechanics and just, put the probes on gas, make the buildings, make the army, if you don't practice that shit, like, you're not going to be able to like go up to 100 APM like the next day. So even though the game's going to be changed, just trying to get faster and trying to get better, doesn't matter which version of StarCraft you're playing, it's good. So you shouldn't be scared by Legacy of the Void, in my opinion.
I'm gonna just follow up Nate's PR answer with another kind of PR answer. Yeah. I really fucking love the arcade, and I think you probably would too, dude. It'd be worth playing just for the sake that maybe you don't love practicing a ladder, but there's so much in StarCraft.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, my opinion was totally biased looking at like competitive side. If you want to play 1v1, then like waiting till Legacy of the Void wouldn't be a terrible idea, because you're like almost nothing that you learn now is really going to be too useful. Like aside from simple stuff.
Fuck that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, mouse accuracy is simple, but it's so important. Like,
yeah.
Okay, you'll learn. Okay, basic skills. Yeah, that's a pretty.
Right,
that's a good counter argument. I'm thinking about strategies because I already know how to play the game. That's me being biased.
Absolutely.
Okay, I apologize.
Even your mouse accuracy isn't perfect. Like, nobody's mouse accuracy is perfect.
No.
The more that you play, the better it's gonna get. So I gotta disagree, Nathan. Sorry. I would say, like, if you want to be competitive, you should start playing right away.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you think we will ever get someone from the StarCraft 2 balance team to come on this show to discuss Legacy of the Void WCS development, or explain why they do not prepare the microtransaction way for StarCraft 2 future after Legacy of the Void?
That's a question for you, Desi.
I mean,
isn't that 2 different jobs though?
Yeah, it is. That's why I think the question is silly, and I don't think they have to justify to me on the show or to anyone. Like, the thing about the microtransaction is it has to be like they have to put in the work at the like executive level. So like the people that are taking care of like the company financial and stuff, like that's where they have to like do the fighting if they want it to happen. So they can't come on the show and be like, yeah, we're not gonna do it because of like financial and like the stocks and everything. Like They're never gonna come on the show to talk about the business model of StarCraft 2. Like that would never happen. As
It
for
would be suicide to their career because if they
yes.
say one thing wrong,
Yeah.
that's.
I mean,
Yeah.
in the past, you had Chanman have Kim answer a few questions about WCS and the region locking and like what were their plans for that specific year. But they never talked about like the future. Like she always said, like, so this year this is what we're doing and blah blah blah, and just to answer questions. Nathanias, do you feel like not touching this even with a stick?
So
Did you just ask him to touch it with his dick? I wasn't quite sure
No,
what
a
I heard.
stick, stick.
Okay, so here's my response. To be as political as possible and to just completely avoid answering the question, I'll instead offer the suggestion that if these are the kinds of things that you're concerned with, you need to keep in mind that this is stuff that's been shouted out enough so much that not only has Blizzard acknowledged that it's something that they're taught, it's something that they talked about, but it's come to the point where they've mentioned that multiple times. So if it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen, and if it's not, trying to harass these guys that are working on making a game to come talk to you on a show about it, or come on a show, that means get ripped apart by everybody because everybody, that's pretty much all that happens whenever Blizzard comes up in a discussion anyway. I think it's more important to try to focus on other ways that stuff can be improved, but you're not going to get, especially with the way the community treats even the responses from Blizzard, because before they didn't even respond to us at all, but the way that people respond to them now, it's just, why on earth would you want to subject yourself to that?
Yeah, I really felt bad for Sion. I was asking him to come on Remax at some point, like 2 months ago. I'm like, yeah, it'll be cool. People will get to know you. But then after what's been happening on Reddit, man, I kind of feel bad for him.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of SSL in comparison to GSL? We obviously didn't see much yet, but hypothetically, do you think SSL could become the Korean tournament because it's on TV? I think ? Will GSL stay the most important one, or will they both be equal? Nathanias.
They're both so good. So here's there's something that I want. This is actually something I really wanted to talk about because a lot of people were whining to me when I said that I was really happy about this because they're like, oh, but I was like, finally, all the best players in the world are competing for the same thing again. And the first thing I got was some like Kespa elitist guy that was like butthurt about Zest or somebody not qualifying for one of them or something like that. And I'm just like, well, the thing is, it's so awesome because they still play in the qualifier. So even if you don't see them in the main tournament, like all these guys actually had to compete to play, right? Like we actually have all these guys that went through the qualifier. So technically they already had to have one big tournament with each other to try to get in. But most importantly, you have the Korean players that played outside of Korea last year in, and I just think it's awesome. It's so much better. I spent the last year and a half whining about GSL because it's pretty much everybody that couldn't afford to go play in another region, and yeah, I'm really happy. I could not express more how happy I am. I think GSL is going to be worth staying up until 3 a.m. to watch again.
Any other thoughts, RifKin?
I'm not the one to ask, man. My entire GSL experience up to this point has been VODs. It's a terrible time for me. I never get to watch it live.
Let me see. What about you, Kane? Do you think SSL will rise above GSL?
Well, I don't know. Like, any competition is good, right? It'll kind of push both of them to do the best that they can do, I guess,
Yeah.
in terms of production, in terms of everything. So, I don't think the important question is whether it will become the Korean tournament. I just think it's important that there is competition now, and hopefully they get even better. You know, like I'm kind of the same as RifKin. Most of my experience with GSL has been a lot of VODs because it's like 4 o'clock in the morning for me, so I don't get to watch it very often. But I've been there live, and it's pretty sick, and hopefully it can get even better.
Okay. Guys, this is for casters, RifKin and Zubbigrub, not you, Nathanias. Kappa. I'm an inspiring caster. What's the best way for me to get into that? And what do you think is the best time to host a tournament for people across the world?
I'm offended. I'm like one of the only casters that actually had absolutely no friends come into this esports thing, and I made it work. But cool, you guys can answer.
Well, hey, it's not exactly like... Okay, first off, hey, it's not exactly like we've had a fucking silver platter here either, buddy. I'm just saying, like...
No, I wasn't insulting you guys. I was just sad
know.
that I couldn't get asked the question.
I'm gonna give the Zombie can maybe give a better response after. I'm gonna give a really stark negative one and just say don't. Honestly, unless you're doing it for fun at this point, there are so few jobs in the first place. Look how successful base rate TV is, and we can't even get hired anywhere. I'm just saying, like, if you're looking at cast for funsies, or if you're looking at just a tournament for like month to month to represent your team, the best times usually are either weekends or if you're looking for viewers, any time that really has a European friendly time zone. So like starting things around like 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and whatnot. But as far as like trying to get into casting for the sake of trying to make a job out of it, it's so brutal to say, but I would just say don't. It's really not gonna be worth your time. And that's not because I'm scared of competition, okay? Or anything like that. It's
Wow,
just there is
Riff.
a really harsh
Wow.
reality to trying to make any money in this scene.
Yeah.
Dude, it's fucking brutal, man. It's brutal. If you want to do it for fun, then by all means, just... It's really, really easy. If you want to do it for fun, just, like... You could tweet at most of these guys and just be... Or just, like, you put your tournament up, and then you tell someone like us or whatever, and then we tell, like, one person that knows all the Koreans, and then you'll get a bunch of Koreans to sign up for your tournament, because... You know, the best thing about you Koreans, and especially most of your favorite Europeans, is they'll play in just about anything if there's even like $100 for the first place winner for just like a bracket like that. So
Wow.
it's not difficult to do stuff like that. And you guys know that doing like Zodak and Go for SC2, you get great players that sign up for all of them. If you want to do something like that, it's really not that difficult at all. Even just announcing it on Reddit is usually enough because a couple of people that actually like the game will upvote you, and then people will sign up. And yeah. It's not that hard.
Have you actually seen the challenge bracket that he linked? As like a description of his tournament? I'm gonna guess no.
Oh, I
Anyway.
haven't.
Okay, so like he actually is putting up kind of like a big prize pool, like for someone who's doing this and like is not known. So that's really cool. And if you can afford it
It's
on like a
actually-
weekly basis,
I just want to throw out, this is actually a prize pool that's not too dissimilar from the Elima League.
right?
Like,
That's
40 bucks
actually-
for first place versus 50 bucks for first place. Like, I guarantee you this guy, if
Yeah.
you want to tweet players like Center and like anyone from MVP, Gumio, like they might actually come play your tournament. And if you're looking for like some
Yeah.
cool names, you'll get them.
Oh, wow.
Like,
I mean,
keep in
Arthur's
mind,
in there already.
like, keep in mind, like, you could have someone like Jaylong sign up and it's not going to give you tons of viewers or anything. So you got to gauge what you want to do with this tournament, right? Like, if you're just doing it to practice casting, 40 bucks, like, for first place, that's actually a pretty good prize pool. You'll
Yeah.
have a lot of good players sign up, and you'll get good practice casting quality.
When is this? I'm signing up. I want to play in this.
Wow.
Top 4
There you go.
Elima League finisher, Nathanias stepping in.
Don't tell the Koreans about this tournament. I want
Wow.
to
That NA mentality. Nathanias always shitting on any player, but
So yeah, like you already like I mean you
I'm
answered my
already
question
signed
about-
up for the tournament.
There you go. You already got like so much like press from just like putting it in there. So it's already like good job of making a tournament. But realize that you aren't ever going to make this money back. Like realistically, never. Unless you find like someone who like is willing to pay you, but they won't get that money back either. Like you're
Rip.
probably not even partnered on Twitch, I'm guessing. So like you're not gonna get ad revenue. But if you want to put this money in
Maybe
because
this
you love
guy's making big bucks on Ding It.
yeah. Well, oh yeah. Well, you know, if you're on Ding It, then obviously you're making like thousands of dollars, so it's okay. But
You get more
Really?
dollars than viewers.
thanks.
I can't comment on that.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, like if you want to do this because it's fun and you want to get casting, just like do it. And if you do want to get some viewers, do it during a European time, if you can. Seems to be
Here's the thing
best.
too. I've never heard this guy cast. He could actually have like the voice of an angel. Like he might
Right.
actually be the best next caster. No one would ever know if you don't give it a shot. So just have at her, man. Worst
true.
case scenario, it goes fucking poorly. You never do it again. I mean,
Yeah. Just research what everyone's doing. Like I got like someone asked me like what soundboard do you use? I'm like, oh, I don't use we don't use soundboards. We use Skype and XSplit.
Yeah, man.
So it's
I
actually
still don't-
easier than some people think.
I still don't like Skype for casting, but yeah,
Oh, no.
it can be as easy as that.
Yeah.
moving on to the next question. In lieu, is that Lieu?
In lieu.
in
lieu?
lieu. That's like a French word, isn't it?
But
Like-
in French, it's called
in
lieu.
lieu.
Lieu. So I was scared of saying it in English. Anyway, in lieu of Blizzard implementing skins, voice pack, and other microtransactions, what do you think of the viability of Patreon for teams, personalities, and organizers to have some sort of longevity financially? Teams shed rosters, sponsors pull out, and adblock makes it so impossible to maintain any sort of sustainable revenue.
What is
He's
I
not
want to
big
jump on
words.
this. I really want to jump on this.
Okay, Patreon is you give them like. Actually, go ahead, RifKin. Whatever.
Well, no,
Yeah.
Zambia is actually she's smart. We should
Yeah,
probably
maybe.
explain what it is for those who don't know. It's kind of like a subscription system on Twitch, but you can modify how much you want to do, and it goes towards a particular person or a goal or something. So, being the big proprietors of the Alima League, this is what I'm going to bring up right off the bat. If you go to patreon.com/holymoly right now, you'll see for the Alima League to function every week, there's 75 people who are donating a total of $700 per tournament. That's per week to this tournament to make it go happen. And what's really cool is like, okay, some people are going to put up like really big rewards and big goals and all these things, but as far as sustainability goes, honestly, you could sponsor a player with that money. You could sponsor a big fucking player with that money.
Yes.
What's so nice about Patreon, like, I knew Patreon because I'm an artist, and a lot of artists use it, but, like, you can actually be like, you're gonna give me $50 every tournament, or, like, every art piece. So, like, there are, like, tons of reasons to why people will give you money. Like, every video I upload, you give me $50,
Yeah,
or every month, you give me $50.
This Patreon thing is really cool. It's something I've actually been thinking about myself, like, especially as I'm, like, at this point, you know, as a personality where I don't actually have any work at the moment because there's no tournaments going on, and no tournaments have asked me about anything next year yet, so... I think it's cool, man. It's tough for a pro gamer, but if you want to be I think especially like a pro streamer who does like replay packs and stuff, it's much easier, I feel, to get like a good setup to reward the people that want to support you the most, right? Because it's like for $5 a month, yeah, you don't want to give your replays out to everybody, but if there's some guy who pays you $100 a month, maybe that's worth it for you, you know? To be like, well, I'll send this guy extra ones, or I'll do the fucking like coaching session with this thing. I don't know. But I really like the I really like the idea of it, and as far as I'm aware, it looks super successful for Ultima League.
Yeah, I think too. If like there are, I guarantee, like, let's say for whatever reason EG dropped Jaedong, right? Jaedong finds himself stranded in America without a team and unable to go back to Korea. If someone made a Patreon to support Jaedong,
oh my god,
like, and that would get felt so quick. Like,
yeah, like I think someone like Jaedong could easily make enough money off of a Patreon if if he's playing and showing up and streaming, then like he could easily make enough to go hit all the tournaments that take place in NA, probably some EU depending how many there are in NA. Like yeah, I think for something like that it's a big deal. If you're new, obviously no one's gonna know who you are, so they're not gonna have a reason to support you. But it's looking like a better way of supporting people in a time where, because I think about it much like the way Destiny does his subscription, where there's a way to give more than other people, and some are generous enough to do that, right? Because then otherwise, how much different is it than just subbing to them on Twitch, for example? But in this instance, it definitely opens up more ways for someone to help you do what you do.
How much is the cut on Patreon?
5%.
5%?
It's really good.
That's a much better cut than the 50% of Twitch.
Yeah.
Hey?
Yeah.
Hey?
But
wait, what is Patreon's cut?
5%.
5%. But
well, I need to open my Patreon feed right back, guys. I'm doing this right now.
I mean, there's pros and cons to both. I think one of the biggest things for Patreon, though, and this is what I think is the biggest pro, you can modify what you're doing at a moment's notice. If you suddenly want to dial it back because you spent too much this money to like $1 a month, versus if you had a great month and you want to give $100 a month or per tournament or per whatever, it really does let you customize it, which is why I think a lot of people are really comfortable with it. There's not a lot of downsides to the site, but I will just say, for those who are quickly looking to jump off the Twitch train versus the Patreon train, keep in mind that, like, while Twitch doesn't require subscriptions to run, you are supporting Twitch at the same time, where you're watching this content, where you're getting to see all this stuff for free. So I'm not trying to say this, that, the other, but keep in mind that Patreon is a really nice system to have, for sure. And the question I think we asked in the Reddit thread was, is this sustainable for tournaments and such? We've proven already with the Alima League, it is, without question, sustainable for tournaments, if there's enough fandom, if there's enough support behind it. As for players and such, we still have never seen a system or an instance where someone's been supported by a crowd's funding source, but I'm positive that, again, with the example of like a big name like Jaedong or somebody, it would be possible.
I got caught. I opened calculator to see how much Alima League was losing, and then they saw the calculator. Rip.
Well, if you wanted to not be a dummy, it actually includes all the calculations in the sidebar with the milestones, so you could have just
I think you meant the 5% thing.
No, she takes that into account for when
she
puts
does?
the numbers.
Oh,
there you go.
That's why the numbers are always weird with like 167 or like.
Oh yeah, that makes sense now. Do you think Western type of pro league for foreign teams organized by Blizzard could have been successful?
No.
No.
What?
Nope.
No! Are you kidding?
The community is not here yet. If we're talking Europe, maybe, but not in North America.
Yeah.
But
Definitely.
that would have helped the growth.
North America is so spread out too.
You know what?
That is the biggest factor, is that we're so spread out.
I think if you gave $1 billion to every player in StarCraft 2, you'd probably really help the growth too, because none of them would ever have to retire from pro gaming. But there's not an infinite source of money. We haven't found a way to do that yet. You can't have, like, if you want to do an online only thing, that's different. That still comes back. I had this discussion with Red on Reddit the other day. That's still a huge clusterfuck of a nightmare scheduling that stuff, right? Like, even
but if you'd have a league like that, you'd have to live in the same city to have the offline.
That's the problem.
Okay, let's just get a house that can fit. Okay, how many players do we need to hold a roster? 5, plus you need like 2 for substitutions. You need a coach or someone from the organization.
What? You can just get like an apartment and stack up bunk beds.
Okay, I don't want to say the word, but I'm going to. Doesn't League of Legends do something like that? Don't they force everyone to like be around where they're hosting big shit?
Yeah.
The problem with that is you can't compare. Like, people really like to compare Riot and Blizzard.
No, I'm not comparing as in like we can totally get there, guys, but they do that, right?
They do that because that game is 100% of that game is them.
That is the only way it would happen.
For them, it's a justifiable investment because all of the methods that they make money off of their game are, they push it through. They make enough money from it that it doesn't matter. But StarCraft is nowhere near at that stage.
Dude, many Brood War teams were just living in apartments, man.
But they were in Korea.
Korea, dude.
Like, train ride gets you like in most places.
Yeah.
Dude, Quebec is probably the same size as Korea in context, man. Like, consider you got to have every province, like players from the West Coast and the East Coast. Like, it's not as easy as just driving 20 minutes to get to the Pro League stadium.
Like, if StarCraft's gonna be your job, then you should be able to commit to moving somewhere else.
But that's the problem.
If lucky players do it, why not?
The atmosphere in North America doesn't promote that. How many people can you go to the street and be like, "Hey, did you see Twitch TV?" They'll be like, "What the fuck is Twitch TV?" Like, trying to explain esports to half the people I know is just a pain in the ass.
Possible.
It's just not, no. But, like, that's what I'm saying, like, it'd be maybe possible in something like Europe. You put, like, a big something in Germany, like, it's kind of the focal point of everything, and I think there's a big enough crowd in Europe right now for that to actually happen. Korea obviously is, like, where it all started, but I think terrain really, like, let's not forget the lay of the land is a big deal. Having to drive 7 hours just to get to, like, half of California to the other half of California, like...
Nope. Okay, listen. I think as a product, team leagues are better than individual leagues.
Of course.
Yes. So therefore, if everyone moved to like California, and then if everyone moved to like Germany just to play in that would have been cool. That could have worked.
I think it would have been cool, but not viable.
Yeah. Talking about like an end game that isn't even there right now. Like Nathanias brought up, like the point is like Riot, like, when it puts money into its game, it makes money out of its game.
Yeah, like, let's imagine a weird scenario where some fucking Bill Gates comes out of nowhere and says, I've got $2 billion, let's fly fucking, 100 people, let's fly every single foreign player that ever had any tournament result to California or Germany if we're splitting it across Europe. Let's full-time salary them to live here and not be able to play in any other tournaments, and their rent, and their food, and the coaches, of course, because you need to have team managers there, and pay for the venue, and all this shit. With the way that StarCraft is set up, like, maybe things would change with Legacy of the Void. But even then, I don't think you're coming anywhere near remotely close to making anywhere enough of an income off of that it even makes any amount of sense. You're like, at that point, it's like, yeah, if I won the lottery, I guess I could just dump all my money into StarCraft and get rid of it after a season, and maybe it would be really cool, and then it would never happen again, and then everybody would have been put on so high of a level that coming down from it would be impossible, and you just kill the scene. Like, no.
Okay. Well, so some of us are going to be dreamers, and then some of us are going to be Nathanias's.
You're going to be dreaming for a while there, desRow.
Let's do it.
Kane,
you're going to go into
zombie
coma.
grubbers.
Hey, desRow, let us know how your WCS victory goes at the same time, okay?
My counter suggestion, to not be super negative about it, is how about we get players that are willing to wake up at 4 in the morning to play an Acer Team Story Cup match first. before we ask them to move across the fucking world. Because when they can do that, then when the players can actually show up to ATC matches and not forfeit the first 2 rounds, so that Hyun can use his revive and then the twice a season revive because no one else showed up to play in the match. When we can do that, then I think we'll be ready to think about taking it to the next level.
All right.
For context of what Nate's saying, by the way, guys, here's an
There
example.
are a lot of forfeits.
That and like Evil Geniuses is probably like the North American team. Like whether they're good or not is irrelevant because you think Evil Geniuses, you think North America, and vice versa. They couldn't even get 5 players together to play on a regular basis for any time, whether it was like 5 a.m. or 10 a.m. or whatever. So it is a lot of work to get to a point where we could even consider realistically doing something like what desRow's suggesting. It's a pipe dream, but it is something that would be cool to have happen. I don't think any of us are disagreeing with that. It's just the viability and the likelihood of it is so far away.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Well. All right. Surprised you didn't mention. That's from Fenner, by the way. Surprised you didn't mention Petrius and the best improved, most up and coming foreigner. Don't you think he's coming out and doing really well right now? Probably the best foreigner result in Red Bull Detroit. He's winning a lot of small EU tournaments right now, beating top players like Snoot, etc.
No,
the
he's
thing,
definitely
the thing with the European tournament, yeah, he's definitely good. But the thing with the European tournaments right now is all of the Koreans just left Europe pretty much, and it's the holiday, so a lot of people. I know, like in the MY team house, probably a few people went home for Christmas, stuff like that. So I don't think the small European online cups really matter for much right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the best foreigner result in Red Bull Detroit.
Red Bull Detroit.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He did. I mean, he did beat a couple Koreans there, but outside of that, it's like.
Which Koreans? Supernova.
Maybe it was just Supernova. Like
I think
to me that is not bad. It's not bad.
That's not bad at all. Yeah.
Terran was, everyone was bitching about Terran being OP back then too, just like they are now. But my point is that wasn't like at a point where it's like, oh, whoop de fucking do. He beat him on lane, which was impressive. That's just a while ago, not on my mind right now.
Yeah.
I really want to talk about the skill of Petraeus for a second, because this is something I'm quite passionate about. And Nate, I think you might know the reference I'm going to make here in a second. But first off, Petraeus is a good player without a doubt. There's no questioning that. The problem is Petraeus is also really inconsistent. You'll have him go 1 week where he could probably take on any Korean in the world, to the next week where, like, I think it was like 2 Go for StarCrafts ago, he, like, throws the dumbest game I've ever seen in my life, and then somehow wins it because his opponent only threw slightly harder, where he, like, chose to go Swarm Host off of, like, a clear victory into, like, a 40-50 minute game, and it's not the first time I've ever seen him do that either. So, like, Petraeus is really good when he's good, but he's also kind of when he's not.
And I think that he might have some mindset problems. Like, I know he ladders a ton, which is great. He practices a lot, but he seems to get really frustrated sometimes. And I know he doesn't have very much offline experience either, which was a problem that I'm going through as well. So I think if he manages to fix his mindset a little and get a lot more offline exposure, a lot more offline experience, then he could be really good. But right now, he's definitely up and coming, but he hasn't made it yet, He's not anywhere near the best foreigner, in other words.
Yeah. I think there's good. I think, like, especially when Petraeus would be a breakout player, if anything. He's like this kid from New Zealand who would, like, beat out, Xtartel, King Kong and stuff, like, just winning the ZVZs, came to North America. When he got to North America, kind of really was the small fish in a big pond, but very quickly made up for that. And his performances in WCS and everything else he's been has been fantastic. But, again, he's not quite there yet.
I agree.
All right,
Maybe 2015. Sorry.
Yeah. Which pro player had the best, most consistent stream this year?
Which pro player had the most consistent stream?
Yeah, I was gonna say
I was
4GG.
gonna say 4GG. Yeah, that's the first one that came to my mind.
Dude, 4GG does rebroadcast. He's the only guy that does that.
He's smart, man.
Yeah, but that's because
he's so consistent. He's even consistent when he's not there,
Yeah.
Yeah, props to 4GG. Alright, let's go for a cheesy question. What are your personal goals for 2015? RifKin, Zombie Grub, are you guys going to host more or less tournaments?
I thought it was like you're gonna get married. Oh.
I know, I was expecting.
Thank God!
And then, okay, so are you going to host more or less tournament? And then you have any personal goals you want to share with the stream?
Well, I seriously more parts this. Are we just going to take turns answering, I guess? Because there's, like, a question for you and Kane and Nathanias.
Yes.
Well, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna host less tournaments and not involve any North Americans. That's what Reddit's taught me, if anything. No, seriously, guys. If the way we function is, if we got money, we're gonna have a tournament. And if somebody donates us money and says, "Hey, we want to see North Americans," you're gonna see North Americans. If they say we want to see Koreans, same kind of deal. As far as personal goals, it kind of ties in with that. Where like I would just love to throw tournament after tournament after tournament and like literally kill myself because I have no downtime and stress myself to a heart attack. But it all ebbs and flows with like combination of subscriber money and donations we get. So, are we gonna host more? We'll host as many as we fucking can. That's a promise. That's my answer.
Good.
Yes. What about you, Zombie Grub? Are you gonna host more or less tournament?
I'm not really.
Do you
Pretty
guys?
much, RifKin's like, hey, we have money. You want to cast? Like, you want to like use this? And I'm like, yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, we could split this, or we could make a tournament. Okay, make a tournament. Like, it's always gonna be the answer. But I'm going to Korea next year, so things are gonna like change up for me. And I guess the goal is like still be involved in StarCraft and Overwatch, when that comes out. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. Kane and me. Any tournament goals? Life goals? Kane,
Fuck
you go
bitches,
first.
get money.
I like that. I'm changing my answer. I'm changing my answer.
Fuck bitches,
I like
get money.
his.
Wait, is the fuck bitches part like you beating
No,
also
I-
user and?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I do want to perform well in WCS next year.
Yeah.
I want to go to as many offline tournaments as I can, because like I said, that's kind of like an experience thing that I want. And plus, I like traveling. If it's not done, like in the past year, I've done a bit of excessive traveling, so I hope to slow things down a little bit. And yeah, I want to stay in North America for a while and just perform well here. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Life goals, I don't want a girlfriend. Like Snoot said to me once, like as soon as you get a girlfriend, you're done, pretty much, in esports. And I completely, I'm paraphrasing a bit, but that was his intent, and I completely agree. I just want to be free, you know? I want to travel around, I want to do well in tournaments.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. For me, so once upon a time, for a very long time, I was very shitty, and then for a little while there was a glimmer of hope, but then that glimmer of hope went away. So I just want to bring that glimmer of hope back. That's all. That's all I want.
That's all we wanted.
Yeah. And,
Was I rude to Petraeus? I just got called out by Petraeus.
Oh.
Shit.
I don't think you were rude. I think.
I don't think I.
I mean,
rude.
anyone who
You-
wins undeservingly tournaments left and right, when they're called out, they're gonna want to fight back. Like that's normal.
I
man.
guess I didn't say he didn't deserve it. I just said that right now it's a bit easier because I don't know, the Koreans left here. I think that's objectively true. Like Saxry was playing in all those online tournaments, and so was Stardust and Gachi. And there's some like GEM Koreans as well that were playing in those. So of course it's going to be easier. I think that's objectively true. I don't think I was rude to betray, so was I? Maybe the chat will say differently.
Alright, so after this teenager episodic moment from Kane...
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah, my life goal is I want Remax and my stream to be more successful. We're going to the moon, guys. And I'm taking you guys with me. Alright. Nathanias, looking to play more or less, cast more or less, and what about growing a full beard?
Well, I mean, just to knock that one out really quickly, people always tell me that they're impressed with my facial hair. Guys, I actually have life hacks on because my beard, what you see is what you get. It actually doesn't grow anywhere else. I'm just blessed that the one place that my hair grows on my face, it actually looks like I have something going on. So I can't. If someone's like, Nate, why don't you grow this area out? I can't, man. I'm only 21. It actually doesn't grow there. So, yeah. But as far as 2015 goes, oh man. Well, WCS is looking pretty rough. I'm hoping that the NA players can continue to slack off enough that I can accidentally squeeze my way through, and I can get some of that dirty challenger money. Because no, I'd like to go back to school
There's
at
only
some point.
11 spots, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, there's 8 spots in challenger.
No.
Well, 8 new
There's
season.
no. It's like 16 minus 5. The Koreans equals 11.
Yeah, but the Koreans will be in Premier.
But for this season, for this qualifier.
Yeah, for this qualifier, of course,
Yeah,
it's impossible.
yeah.
But
Oh, it might not be that way though, because players like Gariam are gonna kick on all the Koreans, right?
and yeah, exactly. That's
Aryan
what
can't
we're
play.
hoping. Well, yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I actually tried to talk to them specifically about him, but they were like, no, there's no way to make it work. Anyway, there's what is going on for me next year. So like I said, I actually don't know what I'm doing. I haven't spoken or finalized anything with any tournaments yet. So my big goals are going to be to continue working on my stream. I think I've done a pretty good job with like at least my sponsor as far as like doing things related to them and giving them exposure on my stream, you know, stuff like that. So I'm looking to get more sponsors, maybe do a Patreon and run more tournaments. Cap the Star League is the one thing I can say is going to be much bigger than I think I had anticipated. I had some really big plans for it, and I had some really good luck this year with my numbers for it, despite how few of them I ran. So that's going to be a big thing. I'd like to qualify for Challenger. Outside of that, yeah, I don't know. Maybe get more used to this Los Angeles place. I'm gonna buy a bed. That's the dream right there, boys. And if I have work, I can get a car, so I don't have to be stuck. Because apparently in Los Angeles, it's not possible to do anything unless you own a car.
Yeah.
So
America.
those are my goals.
Canada though, same with Canada.
Those are my goals. I
North
want to get
America.
I want to get a bed. I want to be able to go like make friends, cause and you know not just sit in my room all the time here, and then put some money behind away so I can go to school again in a few years.
Hey guys, we forgot about Best Caster of 2014.
My vote goes to Nathanias.
My vote goes to, oh wait, no, he was a host, never mind.
What were you gonna say?
No, nothing.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I don't want to be called the best caster, but I would totally not mind if people took the picture of me on stage at DreamHack Winter and compared it to my first studio broadcast this year at the ESL Studios in Cologne.
Why?
Because I'm so fucking horrible. I actually really need to show you this picture. Like, when I saw this, I actually couldn't believe that I looked this horrid casting WCS America Season
Where?
1.
Where are you
hang on,
linking
I'm
us?
finding it. I just googled Nathan Fabricant.
What about you, Kane? What do you think is the best caster of 2014? Kane?
Favorite caster was, I don't know, like, there's so many ways to look at what makes a good caster and what's not, and it's just inherently hard to tell because there are two different types of casters. There's analytical, and then there's kind of shout casters, I guess we can call them. So I think you almost need like two different categories. For analytical, I know Apollo's pretty good. Nathan, obviously you're very good yourself. Yeah, like I'm for sure forgetting some people, but if I had a big list of casters, I'd be able to say it more accurately, I suppose.
Okay.
In terms of shoutcasting, that's a really tough one. I don't really listen to shoutcasting. It's more the analytical side of things that I'm really interested in. So I don't really care about shoutcasting, to be honest.
So why is it RifKin again?
Who's your favorite caster and why is it RifKin?
Pretty much. Yo, actually, I do love Nathanias' casting, honestly, because when he gets into like the passions, I'm gonna talk about him like he's not here. Like the passion zone for like tearing games, like I don't think anyone can outdo him. Nate, I love you, but like that same passion isn't there for the other races as much. So like, I definitely couldn't name you as like my #1 favorite of all time.
It's just harder. It's harder to put yourself in that perspective, you know.
No, it is. I understand. I understand. But I'm just saying, like, that's the only reason I would give Apollo over you, because like that guy's always on. Like he's always on. Like there's no turning that guy off when he's doing it, and he doesn't. I don't know. There's never a bad moment with Apollo, I find.
Okay.
So
I compensate for that by being able to beat him 1v1, so we're good.
Okay, I think we're coming to an end. One last question from Jim Rising. What do you think about spots for... No, hold on. Yeah, his question on Reddit was better. Let me go and find it. God damn it. Jim Rising, where are you? Alright.
is he asking how to sneak across the border?
Come on, man.
I love
I-
Jim Rising.
Whoa!
I love Jim Rising.
RifKin! Whoa!
Okay, no, first off, before you get into this, his like subscription thing is like a bean, because he calls himself a beaner all the time, alright? So like, I am going light on what is Jim Rising.
I love Jim Rising too. He's a really nice guy.
I think he deleted his thing. Fuck.
Every interaction that I've had with him is always hilarious.
Okay.
Like
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry. No. Sorry to cut you off.
he calls everybody like he'll put gay at the beginning of everybody's name. So he calls himself like Gay Rising, and he'll call me Gain, and he'll call Hendrilisk like Gendrilisk and stuff. Like it's just the stupidest thing ever, but it's really funny.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's hard to explain.
He's the nicest guy. His question is, what do you think about the spots for Latin America for WCS? Is this motivation for us to get better? And what do you think the solution to get money from the sponsors for a little scene like StarCraft 2 on Latin America? I see Cheers for Gaming sponsoring too many players from Canada or another sponsor from USA supporting USA players. We should get better before we thinking in sponsors. Now, my opinion is they have like 0 streamers that like stream in Spanish or Portuguese, or like very little, and that obviously doesn't help. But Copa's doing a good thing for them. I think they just need to like show up to Copa and do their best there if they really want to help the scene grow. But RifKin, you probably have a different opinion.
Well, I don't know if I got a different opinion. Like, as much as I may have my own thoughts on Copa America as a whole, you're right. Like, I think it does the right thing. The problem is, though, you do kind of have those clear-cut winners. So, like, Major's going to win pretty much every time he plays. So they're really competing for second or third place. But that shouldn't really matter so much, I feel, because it's about just that competition, the practice playing in a tournament scene. I mean, going kind of back to quoting somebody else here, Snoot always talks about like how his best practice comes from playing in Gopher StarCrafts, playing in scenarios where it's a little more serious and not just ladder. So I think Copa America might not be the biggest tournament, and it definitely doesn't provide the greatest competition of all time, but it's a really important element for players to get better, especially when you're approaching a scene like WCS. It's a completely different atmosphere. But as far as anything else, I don't know, man. Just keep playing, play better players. I'm not a player. I don't know how to tell you how to get better.
Yeah. Okay. What's funny? Hey, Nathanias, you never brought the picture, by the way. Oh, did you?
I posted
He
them in
did.
the chat.
It is quite a difference.
Yeah, I mean, when at the start of the year, I didn't, because I never did regular studio broadcasts. So, like, you know, obviously I didn't know anything because I come from a small town and dressing up nice wasn't something I ever had to do, except for prom. But
Oh, dude,
I lost 40 pounds since the start of this year.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
That's fucking
Look at those.
sick.
Look at those pictures.
Yeah, man.
Dude,
Look at the picture. I figured
Hey.
out how I like found a good way to get my hair cut. I found a decent way to use hair gel. You know.
Dude, you
I got
look
some
like
shirts
you
that
were a
fit.
stoner in a basement that just got out.
That is
Like you
pretty much.
escaped.
That's pretty much what I was. That's pretty
Hey.
much where I escaped from to go cast WCS. So.
Nate, did you have a natural birth there, or was it a C-section?
What?
Whoa!
You just got so much shaved
I'm
off your
pretty-
tummy, dude. It's actually really
I don't.
impressive.
Where's the
Oh.
I don't see
Okay.
the picture. Where's
Oh, God.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh.
where's
well,
the picture?
Yeah.
It was in chat. It's like you guys go away.
Oh shit.
The first thing I did when I got paid by like Red Bull and ESL coming here was like, I can get clothes now. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I need
But it's
to
sick because not only
get
have
rid
you
of the
lost
belly.
you probably lost like a lot more fat than just 40 pounds because you've also built up muscle, obviously, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, like,
That's
it's
I feel so much better, man. When I wake up in the morning, getting out of bed is like fucking nothing. Feels good. It was a good life choice.
all right, that wraps up the show, guys. Thank you, everyone, for coming on. We'll do the shout-outs, and then we'll go on our merry way. Thank you, everyone, for watching. So, what the hell? Yeah, so, Nathanias, why don't you start?
I guess this is the last Remax of the year.
No, there's one more. I'm not stopping.
Oh, okay,
until,
okay. I was gonna
That
break
passion.
out. I was gonna break something out special, but I have to wait for the last one of the year then. Big thanks to everybody tuning in. I hope you guys all have a happy holiday. You better double enjoy your holiday, because you're probably gonna be with your families and stuff. This is the first one I won't be spending with mine, so I'll probably be spending it in some variety with you people on the internet. So yeah, hope you guys have a great time. And shout out to my sponsor, CyberPower PC. I've basically been using my laptop to encode my stream, so my stream looks twice as good as it used to. And of course, you should check that out at twitch.tv/Nathanias. But that's all. Love y'all.
Alright, RifKin, any shoutouts?
Yeah, actually, well, I got kind of an announcement thing to say before shoutouts. I talked to you about this earlier. Guys, we actually have something really cool coming up on the 28th and 29th. I can't go into too many details because they're going to get announced tomorrow, but or ideally tomorrow, whenever things get finalized. But ISO is going to be putting on this really cool 2-day event, so keep an eye out for that. We're going to be casting it. Should be a lot of fun. Should have that big shout out. Thank you to Cheers for Gaming, supporting desRow TV, supporting folks like desRow and other fine Canadians out there. And other than that, guys, just come check us out. Twitch.tv/desRow TV.
Yep. Zombie Grub, any shoutouts?
Follow me on Twitter at @DGaming and my YouTube, Zombie Grub. I just got my camera. Look at it. It's not actually out of the box, but it's
It's a
legit.
camcorder.
It's a camcorder.
That box though.
Camcorder.
Thank
Yeah.
you. It's a beautiful box. So this is what I got to take videos in Korea. So I will always be connected to you, spiritually. Okay.
Nice. What about you, Kane?
First of all, shout out to you guys. Shout out to desRow for having me on the show. Zombie Grub, RifKin, Nathan, you guys are always fun to talk to. Always fun to be on the show. Shout out to MYI and their sponsors Bison, Logitech, Esports Clothing, and World of CD Keys. Yeah. Yeah.
Just
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Have a happy holidays, good Christmas, happy Hanukkah, whatever you guys celebrate. What's the one, Kwanzaa, I think it's called?
Crazy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, crazy
Kwanzaa's already
Kwanzaa, yeah.
over, dude. What the fuck's
Ah,
wrong?
shit. My bad.
He had good
Yeah.
intentions.
I don't know if I'll be on next week, so if I'm not, have a good New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, thank you everyone for coming on. Thank you, Nathanias, for putting up with me, even though I'm always last minute. Same for RifKin. Thank you, Kane, for being so flexible despite your busy schedule. And thank you, Zombie Grub, for coming on last minute. Yeah, I guess you can thank RifKin for putting your name forward once or twice. Not that I didn't try to invite you before. Happy I got you on the show. Thank you for coming on. Oh, what the hell is going on? Alright, I messed up the overlays. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you really had a good time. You can find the VODs on Reddit tomorrow with the MP3. It's going to be uploaded on... it's going to be uploaded on YouTube like in an hour or two. And yeah, guys, you can buy a Remax shirt and what?
If they find this show tomorrow on Reddit and they watch this and you say that you'll be posting tomorrow on Reddit, aren't you then perpetually obligated to every day post it on Reddit? Is that a commitment you're willing to make?
Well, it's a commitment I've been trying to make. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, if you have any feedback for the show, feel free to email me, tweet me, anything. I just want to make it better for you guys. It feels like a community service or whatever. It's like my duty right now. That's how I feel about it. It's true.
He said duty.
You guys are the worst. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Jesus Christ. All right. You guys are muted.